Welcome. Yeah, it's a little it's only the two of us, but
For now.
we're still here to talk some wrestling. It's the Lonely Marks. I missed the and we're live. I didn't know what to do, but
And we're live.
we're here. We're live. Uh, I am one of the Lonely Marks, Jacob Barber, joined by a fellow. He's just a mark. He's not lonely. Um,
No, no, we seem to go in phases with us. So I'm the non-lonely one right now, but yeah, she's in the other room sleeping right now. She's tired. So yeah, but no, happy to be here, Jacob. Always good to talk wrestling with you, man.
Always, yes, it is Rumble season. Rumble taking place next Saturday in February for the first time. I think it's just how the calendar landed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Rumble season. We're going to talk a retro Rumble today, the Rumble of 1995. So that should be an interesting discussion.
Yeah. It's an interesting show. We'll get to it. So there's at least things to talk about. Yeah.
We'll get there a little bit later, but as always, we got some news and we got some fantasy stuff to talk about. After a pretty good week last week, this week not as exciting on the fantasy front. But Pez, how's it going?
It's good. Some of my people are paying off, pretty regularly on television. Against some of my guys, I gotta wait for those pay-per-views, potentially those big wins and things. I have a few of those regular workers. I think we all have a good mix of that, like kind of those big, because even the guy you drafted first, Braun Breaker, has been in the front row. I'm sure you've been frustrated because you're like, why are you sitting there? Get in the damn ring and win some matches.
Yeah. I was just going over it. The only person whose first round draft pick has actually competed has been Richie's Cody
doing like tag matches and stuff on SmackDown.
He's had one match, but none of the top picks have gotten us any points yet.
Yeah,
so I thought for sure Braun Breaker would have at least a squash.
Well, we'll talk about that though. You're gonna have a good week this week, but maybe if you want to first update us on this past week and give us the updated scores, and then we'll talk about this upcoming week as to what could be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. So, where did it go? Hold on. I had it open, and then for whatever reason, it decided to go away.
Those spreadsheets, man, gotta love them.
Here we go. We're gonna start with SmackDown,
and
we'll move to Raw. I need to something worth talking about. If any of our guys ever show up on main event, are we gonna count that? That's a discussion that we can have off air.
Maybe, but I think we kind of did limit it to like Raw, SmackDown, and like pay-per-views or Saturday Night's Main Event, pretty much.
Yeah, I know we mentioned main roster. I didn't know if we were counting main event. Is that the main roster?
I would be inclined.
It hasn't happened yet.
No. So. Yeah, I would be inclined to say no because it's not like it's like a B show. That'd be like if one of our guys showed up on NXT. I think it would be a little weird.
Right. So like, if anyone had. I don't think anyone has Bailey, but she has a busy week. But she had that. She has an NXT match. Like obviously we wouldn't count that. It's just main roster stuff. So started with SmackDown, kicked it off with a non-title tag team match. So Bianca Belair and Naomi defeating the team of Candice LeRae and Nia Jax. So Bianca Belair getting 10 points for JPO.
Yeah.
None of us have Carmelo. Does anybody have Carmelo Hayes? I can't remember.
I don't think anybody. I think he was one of the guys that got kind of left to the wayside, but I considered him because he's one of those guys that, he's hit or miss when it comes to winning, but he does have pretty regular SmackDown matches. You know what I mean? So you would at least get those steady points for just being on television.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So yeah, he has a match with Jimmy Uso that goes to a no contest. And so far, the most consistent for my roster right now, at least, is the Motor City Machine Guns picking up another win over Los Garza.
Yeah.
Piper Niven defeats BFAB. Neither of those two are on the roster. Although I think Piper Niven could be a sneaky. She might have a match every other week or something. But yeah, and then Kevin Owens defeats Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Owens getting 10 points for JPO once again.
Yeah.
And then the big one of the night, Tiffany Stratton defeating Bayley to defend her women's title. So you count in all those bonuses, the title defense, and that's a 35 point match for Tiffany Stratton for Richie.
Yeah, and I'm reconsidering not grabbing Bayley because not only did she at least have a match on SmackDown, but she had a match on damn Raw. She's jumping all over the place. What the hell? She's in matches everywhere. Like
If I didn't have two champions, I would consider dropping.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it. I might be making a trade, so we'll see. Today I might be doing my 1 of 3, so we'll see. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. So that's SmackDown. Also worth noting, those 35 points are the only points that Richie got this week.
Yeah.
But we'll get to the overall points after we get to Raw. So we get Rey Mysterio again. Another Rey Mysterio match. He defeats Kofi Kingston, but again, neither of those are on rosters. Nia Jax defeats Bayley. Neither of them are on the roster. Yeah. Penta, he might be getting you some steady points because he once again had a victory on Raw, defeating Pete Dunne.
Yeah, I'm hoping they keep doing these steady showcase matches for him against these like undercard guys, and he just keeps racking up wins every week, and at least pays off for me just about every Raw. It's what I'm hoping for. So, and maybe an occasional pay-per-view match, something like that.
Right. I think he could have a good showing in the Rumble too.
Yeah. So, we'll see.
Damage Control defeats Pure Fusion Collective. None of them are on rosters. And in the main event, Seth Rollins defeats Drew McIntyre. So Seth Rollins getting 30 points for JPO, and Drew getting me those 10 points for that because it's five for a match, but you get the bonus if you're in the main event. Yeah. Decent week for some. Okay. Down week for others.
Yeah. Well, and here's one thing. I was hoping to get points because I swear this was a bait and switch, Jacob, and back me up if I was wrong. I could have sworn the New Day was advertised to be in action on Raw.
I think they've been advertised the last 2 weeks.
They're advertised. The New Day will be in action next week on Raw, meaning this past week. And then we get there and Kofi has a singles match, and I was like, what the hell? I thought they said the New Day will be in action, and I was hoping to get some points because I figured with this heel run, they would maybe at least face a few tag team, start racking up some tag team victories, establish them as a hated thing, and like they sort of had a match, but it doesn't count because it was just Kofi. And I was just like, oh come on, you're gonna be kidding me.
So I misspoke earlier. Kofi Kingston is on a roster, but it is part of a tag team, so we're not counting singles matches.
Right. It's got to be the tag team, but I was hoping for that.
Yeah. So somehow, So the leader for the week was JPO, racking up 50 points for the week. Richie, even though he only had one person in action, gets that 35 points. He'll finish second for the week. I got 20 for Drew and the Motor City Machine Guns, and then you got 10 for the week.
I know. I had a first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then I had a slow week this one time. So I came out stomping pretty good after that Raw on Netflix, and then I'm slowed down a little bit. Yeah.
So the overall standings as it stands right now, Richie taking a little bit of a lead with 145 points. Pez, you're at 120. You're sitting in second. I will be in third at 115. And then JPO making up a little bit of ground. He's sitting at 105 now. So it's getting a little closer as we head into Saturday night's main event and the Rumble.
Yeah, no, and I was going to say it's looking good for people to rack up points on even just Saturday night's main event, because we got a lot of our guys wrestling. So I mean, just going over the card anyways, just with the updated card, because there was a few matches added. So going from the bottom, we did have Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax announced. So Jacob, you got a chance to title defense. So you got a good chance to pick up some points there.
A little weird. Nia announces herself for the Rumble, and Rhea's like, "Well, I'll just give you a championship match the week before."
Yeah. Man, maybe I should have picked up Nia too, man. She just has steady work on television, so it's like, man, I don't know. Yeah, it's
I was one of those. I was like, a little interesting that Nia Jax didn't get drafted because she was the champion at the time, and then that very same week, the very next night, Tiffany cashes in.
I went for heavy hitters, but if I just picked up Nia Jax and Bayley to start with, I would have already at least gotten pretty good amount of points just for matches. Even just being on television, I'd be rolling pretty good right now because they seem to wrestle pretty frequently. But yeah, so we got that. We got Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. So my boy has won on Saturday night's main event, so it's looking good for him to maybe pull the upset, and that should be a nice meaty match too. So I'm looking forward to that. You're definitely going to get guaranteed double points and potentially even a title change. You could with Braun Breaker and Sheamus, as you have both those guys on your roster, Jacob.
Yeah.
So that's just points there for the title defense. Either the title defense or the title win. So good points coming at you there with both of those guys on your roster. And then of course you also have Jey Uso, who is in the main event. So that's points for being in the main event. So even then you're looking pretty good for Saturday's main event. But I hate to say it, but yeah, JPO with Gunther in the main event, potentially defending his title, could also be his big points for the night. Yeah. So but yeah, we've got that extra, added bonus this week along with Raw and SmackDown. Your pick of Logan Paul may pay off because he's announced to be making his Raw debut next week. It seems to be in action. So they're kind of promoting it like he's got a match next week against somebody, maybe a Penta situation where we don't maybe not know who till the night of or something like that. But it looks like he might be making his Raw in-ring debut. So you could have a Logan Paul point situation on Raw. So that's looking pretty good there. Some of these people were just kind of waiting for them to show up in the Rumble and do some damage, or to come back potentially, as with some of my people, to start making appearances, my Trick Williams sort of thing, John Cena.
I was going to talk to you about that. If Trick doesn't show up in the Rumble.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping he will. I think it would be a great place to throw him out there because the entrance is over, and I think it would make for a moment, so I think it would be good. But hey, JP, what's up, buddy?
There's the big winner of the week.
He had a good week.
Oh God, I actually get him. Oh God, finally, really? I did some stuff.
Yeah, you were the top scorer for the week. You ended up getting 50. You got 30 for Seth winning the main event, and then you got Bianca and KO picking up victories. So a total of 50. Pez had 10 from the Penta win. Richie had 35 from Tiffany Stratton winning.
Just from Tiffany.
Just from Tiffany defending her title in the main event. And then I got 20 for the Motor City Machine Guns picking up a victory, and then Drew in the main event of Raw.
Yeah.
Those first couple of weeks were breaking my heart, y'all. Everyone was
sometimes, dude,
and Jordan with 12.
But here's the thing: I had 2 strong weeks, and then I had a dead week this week with just Penta. So, it could go up and down with these fantasy things. We were literally just talking about this upcoming week on how we have 3 events. We got Raw, SmackDown, and Saturday night's main event. But Saturday night's main event could pay off big for, especially we were saying you, JPO, and Jacob, because you got your boy Gunther in the main event. Potentially defending his title, so he could pay off. Pretty big on Saturday night's main event. But Jacob's also got 2 guys, both of his guys in the Intercontinental match. So whether it's a defense or a title win, that goes his way either way. And he also has Jey Uso in the main event against Gunther. So
not counting on him winning.
And he's got Rhea Ripley, so defending her title. So it's going to be a prosperous week for you guys. He's got they're teasing Logan Paul. We were just talking about that for Raw potentially having a match. So his Logan Paul pick could pay off next week with some points. So we were just talking about that. And just kind of the build and we were just getting to some of our picks may not pay off till the Rumble. We're hoping, that they make big splashes at the Rumble, pay-per-view, whether in matches or just in the actual Rumble. And I was also teasing a potential my first trade my first dump. So, yeah. So I was doing some research this week, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about this Becky Lynch pick. Man, I may have to swap because now they're talking about like weird contract things and stuff like that. May have to trade her out for another lady who literally her return is imminent, potentially even tomorrow on SmackDown, and they've been actually playing videos of her. I'm gonna do it officially, Jacob. I'm dropping Becky Lynch for Charlotte Flair.
All right.
So I'm gonna make it official. So that will be my one of three. So I am using my one of three for the season, and I'm gonna drop Becky for Charlotte. Because I think her return is imminent, so she may not have like a match immediately, but I think she's going to make a splash in the Rumble. I think she's going to be in it, and then I think she's going to rack up some good TV wins on the road to WrestleMania. So, she's Charlotte, and she's Miss WrestleMania. She always worms her way in, so she's going to be there if she has anything to say about it. So nobody picked her up, so I'm going to make my first trade and take it. So me and Richie have both made trades even within the first couple of weeks, but I'm hoping this one will pay off a little quicker and then at least be a little more anchored. Now that she's officially back, I just didn't know, but now they literally after the draft they started playing like vignettes of her, and I think they've even teased her pretty much officially being on SmackDown tomorrow. So she's most likely going to be back in action very, very shortly.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, we were talking JPO. I think it's I think the two top scoring women, if I were to keep track of scores for
people we didn't draft,
would be Bayley and Nia Jax, neither of whom are on rosters.
They just show up on TV every damn week and have matches. Bayley showed up twice this week on 2 different shows. She showed up on SmackDown, had a match, and Raw had a match.
No, they did say on Raw that she is Raw now.
Yes. Yeah, so.
But she's just, I think she would have been a good pickup at least for the early portion of the season. Or whatever we want to call this, but yeah, it's gonna be a good week going forward. I'm looking forward to Saturday night's main event. We got some bonus points coming. So are we? No, we talked, right? We're just gonna score that like it's a weekly show.
Just like it's a weekly show. So. It's just extra bonus points, when they do have one, extra show for extra points, so just kind of a bonus. It's like a cherry onto extra credit, it's not a pay-per-view or anything officially. So it's just a show. But we will have to talk. We talked about talking at least off air or however we want to hash out, specifics for the Royal Rumble, because we talked about specific points for certain things even within the Rumble. Obviously big points for the winner, maybe even like extra points for the winning, winning a Rumble because it's 30 people. So that's kind of a big deal. And then a main event as well, obviously. But we talked about potentially giving points if somebody has the one with the most eliminations, that should be like bonus points, or the person who lasts the longest, I think, right? Did we talk about that? If they're on, I think
it's worth discussing, because I think getting some bonus points. Because I think there's other shows we can do that, other pay-per-views we can do that for too.
Right. That's what I mean. Just for these like special occasions. Same thing. If one of your guys happens to be in like a Money in the Bank and wins the Money in the Bank, that should be like, some kind of bonus points as well, things like that. So those special kind of gimmicky matches, we can have things like that. Yeah, I think eliminations and match duration should at least be, bonus points if any of us have those people. I think it should be for men and women, obviously, for both.
Yeah, for sure. We can. That's something that we can discuss.
Yeah,
off air.
Just want to hash it out before we do our predictions, and all that, and all that gimmick before it's coming up. So,
sorry, Richie, you don't get a say. Unfortunately, Richie. I think he said he had like a flat tire situation going on. So, make it home safe, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it bad that when he said that, I immediately went to his wheelchair, and then he said he was driving, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's on your vehicle, and now I feel like an asshole. I'm sorry.
My first thought was, when did you learn to drive? Man, you got a flat tire already? What you out there hidden, man? No, I get it. No, he's got a situation. He's also had some personal stuff going on this week with family members, so I didn't expect him to be here anyway, so it's all good. We love you, buddy.
I'll love Richie.
Oh, yeah, no. So, Yeah, we got the fantasy out of the. Sorry, I forgot to put up your little banner. My bad. I'm just
all
being
good.
lazy tonight. Oh well, but yeah, that's pretty much the weekly fantasy stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got my trade in there, yeah, no, it should be. Yeah, we got 3 shows this week, so potential for big points. So lots of points going around. I like it. I like this fantasy so far, though. It makes I don't watch SmackDown, but I go and read the results the next day, and I'm just like, oh, who had matches? Like, yeah, and on Raw, it's like, who's announced for the thing? It's like, hey, who's got it this week? Oh yeah, Richie's got the War Raiders this week have a title defense on Raw, so that could be potential points as well against JD and Dominic. I believe.
Stepping in. Yeah.
They subbed in.
They're teasing some dissension in the.
Yeah, they're teasing that Dom may be like kind of the new leader. So yeah, we'll see. So yeah, you'll have that. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not on Raw or anything like that, JPO. But I did see they made it official. Fraxium on TNA is facing the Rascals, right? Like on television.
Yeah. So TNA for the first time in 8 years went live tonight. So yeah, and that it's a match that was set for tonight's tapings. I have some more TNA news coming up here in a little bit too.
Definitely go to you for that for sure. Yeah. How was Genesis? Anything coming out of that? Did we talk about? Did you watch some of that or no? Huh? Or
I mean, we'll get to that when we get to the news. Do you want to go over that real quick?
I mean, if you wanted to start, I don't really have an order to news. It's all just kind of little tidbit things.
Okay. So, I forgot. I thought we were still on the update. Okay. Yeah. No.
Unless you wanted to make a drop.
Unless anybody wants to make a drop, and otherwise we'll end it. Okay, cool.
I'm good right now too. There's one person on my roster that if he doesn't show up by the Rumble, I might consider dropping him. So I'm gonna hold on.
Oh, I know your guy. Yeah, I know he's kind of sitting on the side, but I'm hoping he'll be a big entry in the Rumble. That's what I'm thinking. It'll make a big return, big splash there. Yeah. So yeah, I know who you're talking about. But I would. Yeah, some of these are like, let's wait to the Rumble and see, and then like, and even the week after, and then like, then we'll consider making more drops. But no, I mean, JPO, yeah, you can kick it off with some TNA stuff. What you got?
Yeah, so Sunday in general is a really big night for pro wrestling. 2 shows head-to-head, kind of GCW at the Hammerstein Ballroom as well as TNA Genesis here. So this is the first after the partnership with the WWE, the official, like it's inked and everything partnership. So even on the pre-show, NXT's Ashante Adonis was on the pre-show here. Fraxium later on came out for an eye look at the tag title match between the Rascals and the Hardys. That lead to some friction, which evidently was on tonight's Impact episode of Rascals versus Faction, which I think, as I alluded to earlier, first live TNA in a very long time, in about 8 years. They were able to go live tonight, and then they probably tape some more after, I would imagine, either tonight or tomorrow. So that relationship seems to be pretty strong. Jordan Grace, videos of her backstage saying goodbye. So Jordan Grace is indeed out of the Impact zone and going already. I think there's also photos of her at the PC already. So I expect Jordan Grace potentially anytime between here, next week, the Rumble, who knows? She's gone. A couple other rumors of Josh Alexander. He lost an I Quit match. I know tonight, I think they said we'll hear from Josh Alexander. So the fact that we'll hear from him makes me think maybe he'll just end up signing back with TNA. I don't know, but we'll see. I haven't read the result of the show. I just kind of want to watch the show now. And then, finally in the end, Joe Hendry finally claimed TNA World Championship, defeating Nick Nemeth in the main event to be the champion, which, by the way, TNA, just want to let you know, thank you for saving me $40. I watched the GCW show live. I was going to probably do it on Monday afternoon. I was like, I'm going to give you my 40, watch Genesis. I stayed spoilers free until I checked my email where TNA was like, new champ, did you believe? And I'm like, well, new $40 not going to you. Do you believe in that? So maybe spoiler free, your email heading at least, just saying, in the future. Just want that out there. And they're very quick too to air good clips on their YouTube as well, which I find kind of weird. Like, I would show nothing from the pay-per-view if you want my money. That's just me anyway. But at the same time, GCW, other than Ring of Honor, being and I guess if you count ECW, the only indie company to run the Hammerstein Ballroom now for the second time here. Started off very interesting, by the way. I don't know if you guys heard about this. PCO maybe going into business for himself here. He was advertised for the show. He was in the main event of the pre-show. I'm going to call it a battle rumble because it started off with 15 dudes in the ring, and then they did it rumble style with the last 10. It's kind of like, here's all the people that are the B team and the thank yous, and then the little more stars said Crowbar from WCW was in it. couple females. The PCO finally came out. PCO won that. Ring announcer traditional. They're like, oh, we haven't seen you in a while. What can we expect from you in the future? And then all of a sudden, he was like, I'm just glad to be in a real place. No, not that place, that never gave me, enough credit for selling the most shirts, the best arenas. And then he grabs the digital title, puts it on a chair, starts hammering it with a sledgehammer. I thought it was all work because then they do the whole what? Stop it, cut. Maybe it was work, maybe it wasn't. Again, it's pro wrestling. Who knows? There's definitely no sign of a GCW TNA relationship. Every once in a while they'll kind of trade talent as far as just using their talents because they're they're relaxing contracts and whatnot. But
I tend to think it was a shoot only because he went on a Twitter rampage a couple of days after talking about Scott D'Amore and creative decisions this and creative decisions that and about the writing and people making the show. A potential I was supposed to have the world title at one point while Scott was there and yada 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 and he's kind of going on this I don't give a shit rampage on Twitter. So yeah,
I believe the world title thing because I remember even hearing back in the day the reason he signed with Ring of Honor. Going back to even more years ago is because Ring of Honor he basically was saying who's gonna give me the world title? That was such an important thing to him. We'll see. Maybe we won't see. No, if GCW books him again, because the thing I was saying too is if I was GCW, I wouldn't book him either now. Because you just fucking winning on your own, and trying to start a fight with a company that they probably don't want to start a fight with at the very least. So I feel like he just screwed himself out of two companies now. But I believe the world title thing. I remember that was an important thing, even for his Ring of Honor run, which he did do it. He is a former Ring of Honor world champion. So I could see when he first signed to TNA being world title? Okay, cool.
Well, he talked about something D'Amore wanted him to win it on some Montreal show that was upcoming before Scott D'Amore. But remember, Scott D'Amore got released, and then that created a whole shitstorm. Right. So that was all
right. Yeah, and now he's a digital title, which is a lot of times the pre-show title. Which I don't hate the idea of that, by the way. I think it's kind of an interesting idea of because I think it's trying to make you actually watch and care. AEW is basically watch these people wrestle. You know what I mean? There's not really any meaning to it. So I kind of like that idea of it kind of being no, look, there's a title, and like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's kind of on the pre-show and whatnot. So whether or not they reclaim that title, I don't know. On the main show here, Tremont won the vacated Ultraviolet title. Then very unfortunate news for Alley Catch. They were doing the number one contenders match, her and Effie, and not even a minute and a half in, she dives to the outside and the match is called off. I thought originally, because I kind of half saw it and they didn't do any replays, I thought maybe she pulled a Lita and landed on her neck. And so I rewatched it the next day, and again I'm looking at her neck no, she's fine. And then I looked at it again and I went, oh, her foot it's pointing at her. It's one of those things where it's that's not how a foot works. So I was oh, clear as day. And then I also saw, I think, Steph DeLander, who also is hurt, I believe, at the moment on recovery, set up a GoFundMe for her. So if anyone wants to donate the GoFundMe, but I believe they met their $50K asking. So I believe it is full. Obviously, you can do more if you'd like. Because, again, that sucks, especially for an indie wrestler, because she can't make appearances now. She can't wrestle right now. Broke 2 different bones, I want to say, is what the x-ray was. So very unfortunate for her. Also got robbed of a real, match, too. Like I said, not even 2 minutes in. That happened here. And then because of that, the show got stalled for another 20 minutes. Because in New York, you need an ambulance on standby. So while they were getting her to the hospital and waiting for the ambulance to come back, they literally, I remember the heel was cutting a promo, and at first I didn't know that was the rule. So I was like, God damn, he's going on way too long. Let's get to the match. That's because they had to stall. So finally they got back to it. It was. It was because you can even see him give the microphone back and whisper. And another thing, you suck for this reason too. You can tell, it was who's shit talking to them? I don't know. What do we do? And then they finally just cut to a video package. It took that long. Because they're very strict in New York. Every state's different. Florida, there's no rules. Jacob, you want me in the main event? I can make that happen tomorrow. If I really wanted to.
So it's weird. State athletic commissions is there was a company I almost started reffing for in Greenville, South Carolina. Just below the border of me. But South Carolina's still one of those weird ones where even pro wrestling referees still have to be licensed. It's weird.
Well, it's some have licenses.
Even if it's a work, sport, you still have to have a license as if it's a real sport. Just they treat it like amateur wrestling, like high school wrestling or whatever, which is just odd. The weird rules.
I kind of like that because I know for a fact. Don't get too far into it. I'll go off air if you want, but like I know for a fact there's a show last week where like somebody was having a death match that literally never had a match beforehand. Like stupid macho shit happens where like it wouldn't if there was simply like, oh, you want to run a show? Where's your license? It's like at least prove that you can kind of do this before you're doing some dumb shit or any shit at all, rather. I won't go through every match here, but after a 6-man tag, we're like kind of like the Legends-ish kind of one, which is Amazing Red, Homicide, and Grim Reaper. They announced Amazing Red will go into the Indie Hall of Fame. It's a nice surprise. You can see Homicide was so excited to give it to him. So that was cool. The Garbage Daddies, that's their names. Cole Radrick and Alec Price won the tag titles. You know who had a really good match? Reggie. Anyone remember Reggie from WWE? Reginald?
Oh,
yeah.
very good.
Scripts.
Okay.
Who was it? Dana Brooks Sommelier or whatever? King of the 24/7 title as well.
That would be. Oh, come on! Tell me you've used him in a Who Dat on Wrestling the Trivia before.
I think because you just probably weren't watching. I feel like he's too famous for that, but maybe.
I think I'd be able to get that one.
Okay.
I think
if I can get it, it's too easy.
Yeah.
He actually picked up a win over Vikingo. And they had a really good 4-minute match here. He's really worked his style into like longer form matches, and like you can tell he's like a Cirque du Soleil guy, but he's worked it in now. Where I actually wouldn't mind seeing a company pick him up now. Actually,
well, I mean, again, and people have told him, and respectable people. I mean, he's met with Rey Mysterio and some of these more established lucha guys that have been like, bro, you got to slow down a little bit. Like, you got to pull it back a little bit. Like, listen, you can do those amazing things.
Yeah.
Like, I think even Will Ospreay talked to him because Will has adjusted his style as well to where he still does incredible things, but he saves it for
another one.
Ricochet. He saves it for those like important spots, those big moments, those big matches. Like you can still do those great things, but slow down the pace a little bit and stretch it out. And like you guys, because he was just, if you saw those early matches, just going 100 miles an hour, jumping off this rope, jumping off that rope, blah 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 blah, and you're gonna mess up your knees doing that. And that's what people have told him is like you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna slip, you're gonna bump your knees, you're gonna do something bad. Like you're an amazing like talent and an athlete. Just stretch it out and slow it down a little bit. Save it for those big spots, buddy. Make it count. And it's like you're good talent. Just save it a little bit.
Speaking of making it count, the ECW legends were in the house. Little Guido, Tajiri, and Super Crazy competing in a 6-man tag that included Super Crazy going to the second level to do a moonsault. So he's crazy, and I believe in his 50s. That happened. The indie debut of Tom Pestock. Anybody?
Baron Corbin's
indie debut. He fought Josh Barnett and talked to Chris Van Vliet actually, I believe earlier today, or at least it aired.
Everybody talks to Van Vliet now, like when they're making moves or they get released or whatever. He's like the guy that gets the interview like almost immediately after. It's kind of crazy.
One of the highest, or is maybe the highest viewed. So he's the dude right now. And it does seem like he's going to continue. I mean, I know he's teased that like the door for WWE is not shut. New Japan intrigues him, so I think we'll see more of Tom Pestock. He also had said he might not necessarily use his real name in the future, but him and Josh Barnett had a no ropes Bloodsport match is what it's called, which by the way, for an indie company, they literally set up a cage, tore it down, tore the ropes down, put the ropes back, all very quickly, like literally within like one video package. Like it wasn't one that was like, I was afraid when I saw that on the card. I was like, damn, man. So because some indie companies, that shit takes 20, 30 minutes, So good job on them doing real quick with that. Just a weird side note. Joe Janela defeated Masato Tanaka. More rumors too that Matt Cardona might be on his way out because he put over his henchman that he's been abusing, Jimmy Lloyd, in a match. And then he also too, spoilers for TNA tonight, looks like he jobbed to Joe Hendry in a title match. So kind of feeling like maybe that's a wrap up of TNA, wrap up of GCW. Maybe not. We'll see. I also feel like last year, I also felt like he did something similar. But anyway, and then finally, just last thing, main event. Effie did indeed claim the GCW championship, something he's been chasing for a while, defeating Mance Warner on that pay-per-view to win the title.
Well, good on Effie, man. He's a good dude. I like that guy.
Yeah, man. Another good thing about Effie.
Yeah, ref for him a couple of times in Florida, and before he kind of moved to the upper East Coast. But he's a good dude, man. I'm happy for him. So
yeah, no, absolutely, and that has been like a long time story too of him like chasing it and getting screwed out of it, Warner and whatnot. So much as they're like, that's why I feel like that's probably the result we were gonna get anyway from him and Ali Catch. But yeah. So overall, it was a pretty good show. They can't go as hardcore in New York. Like I don't think they really want blood, so that is kind of interesting. Like they can't go too deathmatchy, but
yeah. You can do it up to a degree, a little bit of blood. But yeah, you can't do like crazy death matches and stuff. Yeah, that's why
violent matches not that violent.
CZW used to do all their ultra violent deathmatch tournaments. Tournament that's in Jersey, like right across the border, or in Delaware,
Jersey
or Delaware.
Even like Delaware. Oh yeah, did you say Delaware?
Delaware. Yeah. It was weird in Delaware. They go to like some field in Delaware, and just set up a show outside in Delaware. That's what half of those deathmatch tournaments are. It's just like in a field where they just set up like everything there. Yeah, because Delaware really didn't give a shit. They really don't care. You can do whatever you want.
No, really. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, nice. Thanks for the TNA updates, JPO. Keeping us in the loop. Yeah, no, I didn't have a ton. I did see some things about Alexa Bliss. Some potential like reasons why she hasn't come back yet. There was some stories going around about her contract issues and whatnot. Again, take it with a grain of salt. This is all right before the Royal Rumble, so you never know. She could, pop back up, in it. So take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. It could be, just misinformation being thrown out there. So I don't know. Let's see. A couple of Raw notes. They'll be in Atlanta next week. The heavy rumors that Goldberg will be showing up and doing something. So we shall see. Yeah, because they're in Atlanta. That's the spot. I know we don't know, but it's in Atlanta, so we'll see.
Spear JD McDonough or something if you really want to get physical. Just don't touch Gunther or anyone that matters.
What if his retirement match is just the Rumble and he's like, oh, never mind. He just goes in the Rumble, gets eliminated.
Whatever. As long as he doesn't win it, if he comes in and just spears a couple of dudes and gets tossed by somebody, that's fine. Yeah. I don't really mind that. Just do a spot. That's fine. Yeah. Just
I think it'll happen at Mania if he's having one last match.
Yeah. So I don't know.
In Saudi.
Yeah, and I know they were
enough name. No, I think Mania makes sense.
And weren't they teasing for this next Raw as well? I haven't seen them talk about it a lot, but did they not tease the Roman Reigns' little ceremony thing or something for the 27th? Is what they said in that thing backstage where said, let me throw you some kind of celebration ceremony or something. When can I do that? And he said the 27th. So I believe that's on Raw. So people are wondering if some kind of angle will happen there. So potentially to set up something in the future. So and then I like what they've been doing. I just want to mention on Raw, they've been giving everybody in the Rumble like kind of a story going into the Rumble, their reasons for what they, why they want to win it, who they would be going after in the Rumble, what they were potentially doing if they won. And they even bumped up Sami Zayn's role in this one a little bit. If you saw his promo, he did his thing. He was talking about, becoming, breaking out on his own, doing his thing. And then Kevin Owens came out and basically did this passive aggressive promo of like, we're like best of friends, right? And I know I'd always have your back. You'd always have my back. Wink, wink. Essentially, Cody Rhodes for me versus Cody. If I would win this title, you win the Rumble. We can main event Mania, like we've always talked about. And then he just did the whole thing, like, I know you'll do the right thing, buddy. Tap on the shoulder. Walked away. So again, I like that they're dropping these little bits of like things that could happen storyline wise. It gives you again more intrigue. More story is never a bad thing. I think to have everybody have threads going into big shows like this, so it's really cool. So they even added a little bit of layers to Sammy's role at the Rumble, both in that ladder match potentially and in the actual Rumble. So that could be interesting.
It's getting harder and harder to predict who's going to win the Rumble.
There's definitely a legitimate, like, I would say 4 or 5 people you could bet on for the Rumble, which I think is a good thing. It's never, I don't think it's really a great thing when there's a super obvious winner, when it's like just somebody they completely pushed.
It's down to one, maybe two.
The one person, maybe a second, but pretty much just a one. Like when they've got multiple people that you could see winning it and see doing a storyline going into something, in the future. I think that's always a good thing. It's basically, it works into tonight's Rumble 95, because boy that was the complete opposite going into that Rumble where it was like literally 1 or 2 people maybe were the front runners, and that was it. There wasn't even any stars barely in that damn Rumble, and we already have basically 9 people so far confirmed, and they're all stars, like they're all names. So you have people like legit names in the Rumble, big stars, and they haven't even finished. There could be other people that declare. I'm sure there will be some of the mid card, guys tooling around. But we'll get, probably people like Joe Hendry or Trick Williams potentially, fingers crossed, making appearances. So, yeah. So, maybe Cardona. We'll see. I don't know. Could be. Seems like he's wrapping up.
4th year in a row, JPO is predicting.
He's going to predict him again. Yeah, no. Hey, it is what it is.
Okay, he's ready.
Eventually, you're going to have to be right.
No,
not necessarily. You can always just
I don't think he's officially declared yet for the Rumble, but he might after Saturday night's main event. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. See what he wouldn't need to be in the Rumble. He's already the champion.
Yeah. Wait, what? Yeah. What?
Gunther's already champ. He doesn't really need to be in the Rumble.
Yeah. I know. That's what I'm confused by that comment. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think JJ win that title. No offense to Jay. Just like Nia Jax. These are just matches that have matches.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I like how Michael Cole too went back on his statement, because the week before he was like it would be Jey Uso's first singles title, and then this week he was like it would be his first world title, and I was like, there's the wording you're looking for, Michael Cole. Be better.
Yeah. Just one other AEW note. They played some kind of backstage sort of video package thing for something I was talking about now that Aleister Black is gone that I would hope happened. It looks like Brody King and Buddy might be teaming up as the Hellhounds, is from what I'm gathering. Okay. They played a little vignette of them and even Julia Hart thrown in there saying we don't need a leader anymore. We can, basically forge our own destiny as the Hellhounds. So I'm hoping that's what I talked about. I would love to see Brody and Buddy, will put over Buddy in that match there. I would love to see them team up and join the tag division and kind of inject some life into that. But speaking of the tag division, have you guys all seen Dynamite yet, or at least know what happened?
Oh yeah, that's on my notes. Yeah.
Yeah. The Hurt Business put the Hurt on Private Party. Holy shit! Did they just damn near an overblown squash match?
Was that match even announced like a week ago, or
it was announced a few days ago? They kind of set it up in that 6-man. They set it up in that 6-man because
they set it up, but you think they confirm it, especially with it being a title change.
I believe they confirmed it like a few days before on Twitter, but it's on social media
TV,
as they always do.
On Dynamite, on Collision.
I think on Collision they said it would happen on Dynamite. Okay, I think so. It was promoted, but they beat their asses. They put the Hurt on Private Party pretty definitively and pinned them to win the title. So we have new tag champs, and I'm fine with it. I mean, I like Shelton and Bobby. I think they've turned out to be a really fun tag team with MVP as their
commentary. Bobby's first ever set of tag titles, evidently.
Yeah, first tag titles for Bobby. So yeah, good on him. And Shelton's obviously a very accomplished, tag team wrestler. So I like it. And then this new Shelton is great. Yeah, Bobby's working out pretty good as the muscle of the team. So I like it. Yeah, I like it. So hopefully they'll defend it more than Private Party did, and a little more successfully than Private Party did. We'll see.
That's my only sadness is poor Private Party didn't really have a great run. You could call them transitional champs to a large degree. They weren't even on the last pay-per-view kind of thing. So at the same time, all that said, I am excited for Bobby and Shelton, two guys that I really like.
Yeah, no, and I think we'll see way more appearances of them because they're pretty over right now, even with the crowd. Technically heels, crowd pop big for their win. they were standing ovation for the win. So they're those cool heels that people like. Hey, people like when big dudes put hurting on people. Like they like that. So dominant champs are nice. So I mean, we got the official matchup for Grand Slam. Ospreay and Omega versus Takeshita and Fletcher should be a really good match. So Richie in person will at least get to see all those guys wrestle in one match. Yeah,
I feel like the brawl went on maybe just a little bit too long.
Just a little, yeah. I didn't think they needed all the backstage stuff in the concession or the merchandise area. I think you could have just done the brawl into the crowd and then the dives. Like that would have been enough for me. Like I didn't need them going back. And there was a cameo from the Man Scout Jake Manning. If you saw him in the background selling merch, with his mustache. I've seen him at shows before. I've driven by in the parking lots when I'm going to park in the shows. I've literally seen him on the sidewalk. I've been like, Man Scout, so I know who he is. He even did JPO. He opened for Mick Foley at one of the stand-up shows I went to. Jake Manning was like the opener, for 15 minutes, did some stand-up material. So
I remember because I booked him once for a fight Troy Hollywood. They had a really good match for RBW, and we were talking if he came back, he's like, if you try to book it up with a comedy show, that'd be cool. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, he does stand up, but he was at the concession stand, making funny faces and
I believe he's because he used to be one of the head guys at High Spots merch, and then he transitioned that into one of the head of merch of AEW.
Good for him getting that steady work. So hey, cool. On the road doing his thing. But yeah, no, I mean the spots were cool. The double moonsault thing was cool. Ospreay, I think, said afterwards it's like the highest thing he's ever jumped off of, so he's a high flyer, but he's not one of those like balcony jumpers. So yeah, still scary.
Also, if your brawl is going to go backstage, have a camera ready backstage.
Yeah, it took him a second to get caught up with that. Yeah.
How did Ospreay fall? What happened? We missed it.
No, we don't know. They almost missed Omega's moonsault too. They were so focused on Ospreay, they almost missed the Omega shots.
Guys, shit. They're doing some really cool shit, like fucking have a plan for editing and the cameras. Damn.
Yeah. Or at least show the replays, something. Have one on each guy. Yeah, do something. But yeah, no, not a bad little dynamite there. So that was kind of the big things coming out of that. So that's all I really had for little news bits.
Real quick. Just a shout out to Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, man.
Calling it a career, it seems like. So
yeah.
Just want to shout that out real quick. I didn't get to see the death match yet. I think I'll go back and watch it soon. But yeah, I mean,
I mean, give it a shot. I mean, it's probably a little tamer than obviously him and Swerve, but it's still a pretty good match here. Man, I'll definitely do want to say real quick too about like I got a lot of love for Christopher Daniels here. Ring of Honor is one of the things that brought me back into pro wrestling, and that first DVD I ever bought was the main event was him, Bryan Danielson, and Low Key in a triple threat.
Ring of Honor Begins.
That was the second DVD I bought. The first one was Round Robin Challenge, where they all fought each other.
Yeah.
And then I saw the triple threat because I went back and bought the second one as soon as I could because I didn't know what a Round Robin Challenge was, so I actually bought that first. But and I just was like, oh, this is fucking great. And I've always liked his character work, and I've always kind of championed for him here. He's kind of one of those guys, man. I wish Ring of Honor had started maybe even 5-10 years earlier. Or if he had, whatnot, because he never really got his just doing like TNA or anywhere. But he's fantastic here. Definitely one of the top indie guys of all time, King of the Indies. Much love for Christopher Daniels. So, it sounds like it's a legit retirement. I don't think he's as hurt as he was kind of claiming on Dynamite, but it does sound like a legit retirement. So, good for him for all the work he's put in. Again, a guy that you can see him beyond the mat. He's backstage at Beyond the Mat. With hair, actually, I believe. So he's been around for a while.
Yeah, no, I remember, seeing basically some of those wrestling magazines from 2000, 2001, and seeing pictures of him with hair, with sunglasses and everything, with the robes, and hearing about him. And then I bought all those early Ring of Honor DVDs. That was how I started my indie kick. And 02, 03 was buying some of those, some of the CZW DVDs, some of the old ECW, the ECW original DVDs. I still have those, getting me into outside of WWE, wrestling. And no, Daniels is always a big part of that. Yeah, just through Ring of Honor and obviously TNA. He'll always be part of the match that put TNA on the map. I mean, that three-way with him and Joe and AJ, still one of the great TNA matches of all time. And he was always a great anchor of that division, that reliable guy you could put anybody in the ring with and just have a really great match. So, no, I mean, he always one of those dudes you shout out. I think he's well respected in the business too, just from all the boys and whatnot. So, yeah, no, I hope he hangs around as an agent, backstage guy, because he can definitely.
Yeah, I believe they even said there's no sign of him leaving the company anytime soon. This is just right. He's not a in-ring guy anymore,
Yeah, no, I mean, he's just getting up there in age, unfortunately. It catches up with everybody. But that dude's been wrestling. He's been wrestling forever.
It's been kind of coming for a couple of years. Yeah. There's even, him botching the BME, because he truly had one of the best moonsaults ever. That shit was beautiful. And so the first kind of time we botched it, and whatnot, and just it obviously slowed down a little bit over the years, which is going to happen, of course. Anybody time catches up, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, much love to Christopher Daniels, man. He's
much love. I love that dude.
Legend in the business for sure, man. Especially for indie what he did for indie wrestling.
I was on his Twitter earlier, and his family made a pretty nice display for him when he got home.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you go check it out, it's pretty cool. Yeah, 32 years. Yeah,
32 years. Yeah, dude's been wrestling forever.
Some of the pictures they have, it's hard to imagine him with hair.
Oh yeah, no, I remember seeing magazine pictures with him in hair. Yeah, go look at anything pre 2000 of him. He had hair. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Anybody else got any other news, or is that gonna? What you got?
Couple random things here. Crazy Steve, that's crazy with 2 Z's, popped up in an AEW dark match, which surprised people because he was never reported to have left TNA, but he's still on the roster page, which, by the way, PCO is not. They quickly took his ass down, but despite being on the roster page, it does show that he is no longer with the company. It's an amicable split, so maybe even the website people just don't know. But he has gone obviously looking for work elsewhere at the moment here. And then also too, kind of a weird note. Sting is gonna slow down his appearances starting next year. It will also no longer be in face paint. He says, "This is the last time I'm gonna go all out with the face paint at every convention and everyone else." So if you're looking to get a picture with Sting in the black and white face paint and probably the trench coat and whatnot, this is it. Find him at your local WrestleCon or wherever else he ends up at this year, because if he does do stuff in 2026 and forward, you're just gonna get Steve.
Steve, yep, Steve Borden. Yep. Well, there you go.
That's what I got.
Okay, Jacob, you got anything else?
I don't.
All right. Well, shall we move on to our little retro review? What we got going on tonight? So, what do you think? All right. So we moved some things around just, for everybody's schedule. So we were going to do this next week, with the predictions, but we'll do it this week, and we'll do predictions and some other stuff next week. But yeah, Royal Rumble 1995. So we actually we spun a wheel. So I proposed, I didn't know which one to do. So, how do you pick? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. We spun a wheel last week and we spun 95. So we've done 1993 before. We did that last year just randomly. So this one is 95, and one that I didn't remember any of the undercard. I know I've seen this Rumble before, but it's been a minute, so I didn't remember everything about it. I do remember it being a not a very star-studded Rumble. That's what I remember about it. We'll talk about it. It is not very star-studded. There are some geeks in this match, and we will get to it. But yes, so some very obvious non-winners. We'll get to it there. So starting out here, JPO, I'll obviously throw it to you for some fun facts throughout the show, as we usually do here. So if you'll be on standby, I would appreciate that very much. Oh yeah, definitely. We got the Royal Rumble 1995, January 22nd to be exact, from the USF Sundome in Tampa, Florida. So kind of your neck of the woods down there.
I know. I could have been there. I'm alive at this point. What the fuck?
Yeah, Mom and Dad. Yeah, South Florida.
What if you were and you just don't remember?
Yeah, maybe you could have been there somewhere.
95. I'm pretty cognizant. I'm like 5, so
I don't remember anything from 5 except for.
I'm sure I wouldn't remember details. I'm sure she would remember me at the Rumble.
Yeah. Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler are your commentators and hosts for the evening.
Whoa. Yes, whoa.
Yeah.
Buck Quartermain defeating the Brooklyn Brawler. Can we get to that?
I told you about that last week, but it's not on the actual
I wanted people
show.
to know.
I know.
I took for granted Brawler won, but Quartermain got the win. That's pretty weird.
Yeah. No, I
guess Brawler always loses, but like, when does like the local guy go over? That's weird.
Yeah, that's very weird. I know they've showcased sometimes. I remember going to a SmackDown JPO, and even it was like pre-Velocity, like a dark match, like Steve Madison wrestled, like Bob Holly or something like that, I knew Steve at the time, and then the Shane twins before they became the Shane, like before they did the Gemini gimmick, like at one of the random like Velocities or something, So I remember they would always showcase like local guys. I
just double checked. I was actually at Buck Quartermain's last match in 2018.
Okay.
I might have called it actually on commentary. So yeah, and I was actually there too when we inducted the Shane twins into like our local Hall of Fame thing. So.
Yeah, nice.
Nice dudes.
Nice dudes. I worked a couple of Riot shows with them. I worked a Riot show where one of them press slammed a dude into the drywall on the top of the ceiling and broke it. It was a pretty cool spot. not intentionally, but tossed him so damn high he like broke the lighting fixture in the drywall. One of those spots, of course, looked really good on camera though. They got a nice shot of it. So our first shot of the show is Pamela Anderson pulling up in a limo. Again, weird how like the past catches up with like the current. Timely.
Timely.
We've had some weird timely stuff here on these retro reviews. Yeah,
Globe nominee. Not an Oscar nominee, but Globe nominee.
No, but Globe nominee, but she's back in the news, obviously, with The Last Showgirl. So, yeah, very, very pertinent here. So Pamela Anderson pulls up here in a limo. Of course, all the wrestlers are there to greet her and fawn over her and, and showcase what they've got. She kind of smiles at them and quickly ducks away into a side door there, but she will be enjoying the festivities this evening. So we kind of open up with Vince and Jerry running down a few of the matches. And we quickly get to the match, and I swear to God, we can't avoid him no matter what ranking show we do, because
a wild slapnuts appears.
Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
I swear.
It's WWF, WCW, TNA, or AEW now.
Dude. It doesn't matter.
He's on the show.
He's always there. That and a certain tag team I'll get to seems to always pop up as well. I can't avoid the two other guys as well. We'll get there. Two guys in the Rumble. But yes, we've got Double J, Jeff Jarrett with his roadie, the Road Dog. And for anybody who didn't realize, Road Dog got his name because he was Jeff Jarrett's roadie, sort of manager guy running around, taking on Razor Ramon here, who is the Intercontinental Champion, and this is a title match. So big matchup here to open the show. Razor starts out with some big right hands, kind of catches him with some big moves back and forth. Jeff Jarrett kind of powders out back and forth in and out of the ring. Razor hits a big fall-away slam and a Uranagi slam, which would look pretty good. Jeff once again kind of retreats out to the Road Dog. So he gets back in, but he's able to hit a move, kind of like hits a hip toss and he struts, and then he's able to get an arm drag and he struts. So we're doing kind of some old school sort of Southern, style matchups here. Jeff finally hits 3 drop kicks in a row, but only gets a 2 count. Razor fights back, works over his arm a little bit. Jeff misses an enziguri, but Razor misses an elbow, and he puts a sleeper on Razor. Razor pulls a backslide for a 2 count, but then hits another clothesline for a 2 count. Jeff Jarrett fights back with another drop kick and gets a 2. Tries to put him away with the sleeper again on a piggyback style this time, but eventually Razor fights back with a spinning neck breaker. Razor in the corner kind of pulls Jeff crotch first into the buckle, of course, underneath the ropes. That gets a big pop from the crowd, and then clotheslines him over the top rope really hard to the floor, and he retreats again to the Road Dog. Back in the ring, Razor tries to charge and hit him again over the top rope, but Jeff ducks this time, and Razor goes out and lands hard and kind of does the thing where he's grabbing his knee, so he might be a little hurt here. Road Dog behind the referee's back gives him a chop block to the knee to put down Razor for good, and Razor Ramon gets counted out. The bell rings. Razor gets counted out here, and referee says that Razor was counted out, but Jeff then gets on the microphone. He says he didn't come here to win via title or win via count out, because obviously Razor has retained the title if it's a count out. He calls Razor a coward and tells him to get back in the ring, kind of goats him back in. And Tim White, I guess, just has the authority to restart the match because he restarts the match. So we restart the match here. So technically this is match number 2, even though it's still match number 1. But quickly Razor rolls up Jeff, knowing he's got the knee injury for a 2 count. But Jeff, of course, starts in on the knee and takes over here with some different holds. He's got a shin breaker. He attacks the knee in the ropes. Goes for a very long figure 4 leg lock. Razor does not tap out. Razor tries to fight back. Goes for a top rope back suplex, but Jeff kind of twerks it around and lands on top of him to get a 2 count. Both up. Razor goes for the Razor's Edge, but his knee buckles and he can't quite get him up there. And Jeff pulls the inside cradle very quick. 1, 2, 3, and we have a new champion of Double J, Jeff Jarrett, taking the title from Razor here. It was a very Southern style match, not a big fast paced or hard hitting thing like Razor is kind of used to. It was more of a Jeff Jarrett match than anything else. Crowd was really into Razor, so it's a decent match for what it is. I thought the count out thing was kind of unnecessary. We'll get to some another match that had a lot of shenanigans that made no sense in a couple of matches from now. But I still thought it was kind of unnecessary because realistically you kind of get almost the same result here. But Jacob, did you see the show at all, or you just kind of listening?
I didn't rewatch it. I've seen it. I just didn't have time to rewatch it. Gotcha. I do remember enjoying the match. I thought it was a decent opener for the show, but the count out stuff didn't quite make sense. But I think the two worked really well together. It was very much an old school style.
Yeah, very so. It was the Jeff Jarrett match. He works Southern style. He works old school, very heel face. Stalling a little bit. Working the crowd. I mean, Razor. They were into Razor, so I mean, it works to that degree. But yeah, it was okay. But JPO, you got any fun facts for me about these guys? I know we kind of covered these guys before, but obviously Jeff Jarrett's still working, so not much to say there. But yeah.
Jeff Jarrett wants to win the world title. It's 2025.
I know he's facing Claudio. He's facing Claudio next week, and his stipulation is if I beat you, Claudio, give me John Moxley. Oh boy, we'll see what happens there.
He's gonna beat Claudio, isn't he?
Kill him.
I don't know.
No, I was gonna say I did try to rewatch as much as possible. I like the match. I kind of like the ending. I think it shows that like Razor lost because he wanted to be the hero who could still fight, and ended up losing because of his own his own retard kind of thing. So yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was a little different. I don't think I've seen that ending too much. Where Razor could have left. He could have been like peace, but So I actually thought it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it for the most part. Like you said, it's Memphis or whatever, but like it's good. I like it. Other than that, these two would trade the title back and forth literally a couple more times until Shawn Michaels finally defeated Jarrett for the title, which then led to I think the ladder match and whatnot. So
yeah, there you go. All right. So we go backstage to Todd Pettengill, who is with Pamela Anderson in her dressing room.
Handsy.
He's fawning over her as well, him and his mullet. There are lots of gifts in the room. There's flowers everywhere. Everybody's getting stuffed animals, tailored to their gimmicks and whatnot. And there's an awkward moment where he tries to say got like a big giant rose thing and they can't find it. So, Todd hanging out with Pamela Anderson in the back. We go back to Stephanie Wyand? Question mark? Who I don't remember at all, but I guess she was around for a little while. This very upbeat lady who was with Jeff Jarrett, who basically just does a quick like, "I won the title, I won, we're going to celebrate, woo," and just walks away. It's not really an interview, most of it's just a pass through. But Stephanie Wyatt, I don't know, JPO, find out who the hell this lady was, please. I have no idea.
Oh God,
if you can, I think it's Stephanie Wyand. I don't know, maybe just search Stephanie Wyand WWF. Maybe I don't know who this is and how many appearances she made. I don't know if this is like a short-term thing, whatever it was. I only remember Todd Pettengill. We go to our match number 2 as we got IRS being accompanied by Ted DiBiase here of the $1 Million Corporation, taking on The Undertaker, the Phenom, with Paul Bearer. He's in his black suit, purple tie, purple glove phase, if anybody remembers that. Got this kind of goofy purple tie, very bright purple gloves here. But just a regular match, not like a casket match or anything. So this all stemmed from they hired Under Faker, which we covered, I believe, on SummerSlam 94. And remember that horrible match with Undertaker versus Under Faker. And they're still going after The Undertaker here. So we start out, IRS tries to drop kick, but it has no effect on The Undertaker. So he powders out to the outside and talks to DiBiase. IRS powders again. He's hesitant to kind of get in there with the big man. Comes back in, gets hit with a big boot. Taker, multiple Irish whips, kind of whips him hard in the buckle a couple of times, and he beals IRS with his own tie. That was a decent little spot. He hits the old school, which I think at this point was just school, because it wasn't really old school yet. This was just school by the Undertaker, right? So yeah, just school. But he hits that move. Then IRS accidentally hits DiBiase as he goes to try to charge Undertaker, hits him off the apron. They kind of go back and forth arguing. Ted calls in the Druids. He's got some Druids in his back pocket. So two big guys kind of come out, but Taker's kind of unfazed by this. But eventually they get involved as Taker goes to the top rope and they shake him off the top rope, shaking him off the ropes there. So they start to get involved. But Taker goes after the Druids on the outside, but IRS drops his sledge off the apron to break that up. The Druids continue to attack kind of while the ref is distracted here. They do the abdominal stretch spot where, it's that typical one where IRS is grabbing the ropes, referee's looking, IRS is grabbing the ropes, referee's looking. I've done this spot as a ref, it's your kind of your spot you've seen a bunch of times. But Taker eventually flips out with a hip toss. He misses an elbow, but he sits up. IRS gets a flying clothesline for a 2 count. But both guys eventually run into the ropes and kind of collide. But the Druids come in and put IRS over the top or on the top of him for a 2 count as they continue to interfere. Taker goes for the tombstone. The Druids interfere some more. IRS back up with another clothesline. But Taker eventually is able to fight off the Druids, kicks them both off the apron, and hits a choke slam on IRS for the 3 count, and he gets the 3 here. So, but the celebration is short-lived because the Druids once again come into attack. Undertaker tries to fight him off, but the attack is interrupted by King Kong Bundy, who makes his way to the ring, and he hits an avalanche on the Undertaker and a couple of splashes. So this would set up their pretty horrendous match coming up at WrestleMania 11, a pretty bad match for the Undertaker with Undertaker and King Kong Bundy, because like Bundy was a cool looking dude, but not the greatest worker I've ever seen. So yeah, it was not a good match to say the least, but this was the setup for that. So Jacob, any thoughts, anything you remember about this one at all?
I thought, I mean, I'm sure 5-year-old me would have loved the character of the Undertaker, or at least been a little scared of him, but yeah, not a particularly memorable match to revisit. Like you said, King Kong Bundy and Undertaker at WrestleMania. His streak didn't start off so hot.
He wrestled, a couple of guys, Tim Snuka, like how some of the Jake Roberts, not the highest of profile matches, but
Gonzalez.
JP, you got anything for me on this one, or people? Well,
I don't feel like his Diesel match is that great, nor his Kane match. I don't think he had a really good match in like 2001 with Triple H. Like, if you want to get real technical.
And then he had a couple of decent ones because I like him and Triple H. Him and Ric Flair was good. Him and like Randy Orton was good.
And then it gets going.
Yeah, they got better. They got better. Yeah, they did.
I don't even know if and then funny enough, I don't know what the worst. Maybe like him and Henry was just fine, but like that's still like passable. Here's her Stephanie Wyan news, by the way, as you requested. Thank God she does have a very, very short Wikipedia. She literally is only debuting about a month prior, popping up around Christmas time, and then she's gone by the summer. That's
her style is literally like, I'm here with Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, you just had a great win. What are your thoughts? And it's like, it's just
she's at the first in your house, so she's here at the Rumble. So she was around a little bit here and there. In fact, I believe they even said I saw she's on the Raw video game. I guess you kind of like maybe see her in like the background or I don't know on a vignette or something. Okay. That's all I got for 71. And then she made a couple random TV appearances. My Uncle's Barn, seen through the bathroom window. That sounds dirty. But anywho, and then for IRS, he too actually would be gone right around the same time as Stephanie Wyan. He would only last till about July that year. This is kind of the end tail of IRS's WWF run before he debuted to WCW as anybody?
Michael Wall Street?
Originally, not Michael, VK. They went with the Vincent Kennedy joke.
That's right. All right, VK Wall Street.
So VK first, which would not be too long. He'd be VK by September of '95 that year, fighting Sting in his debut of all people.
Oh well, there you go. Oh, and I guess he hit the wrong button. He just said to peace out. Oh, watch out for JPO. I think he probably tried to close his tab and close out himself instead.
JPO. He is just
silly JPO.
Lying. He just couldn't.
You hit the wrong button, didn't you, JPO? Damn it.
Go back to StreamYard, not close out StreamYard.
Right. Don't close out StreamYard. Yes. Close out the other tab. Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Luckily that 71 tab still open.
Oh yeah, no, jeez, yeah. I was like, I don't know who that is. Pettingale, I'm very familiar with.
But that's gonna happen a lot throughout the years. I bet you we could watch, I don't know, something from 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Be like, who's Tiffany Tifferson? Or you know what I mean? Like, so many flash in the pans.
Oh, for sure. So speaking of Pettingale, we go back to him. He's trying to get an interview with Diesel. Diesel basically brushes him off. Get out of here. I don't want to talk right now. He gets a little more out of Bret Hart as he goes to his locker room, but Bret even doesn't give him a whole lot. He's kind of distracted. He just wants to focus on the match and kind of blows him off as well. So Pettingale getting treated like a total geek. Kind of like early Michael Cole, just like, get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. But we go immediately to, and I was surprised by this. It's not the fourth match or the one before the Rumble. We go right to the WWF title as we've got Diesel versus Bret Hart. Diesel, the champion here, taking on Bret Hart. And this match I was talking about that has quite a bit of weird shenanigans. We'll get to it. But yeah. Starting out here, Diesel did have a very cool entrance. He had a video where it showed like a speeding semi, like going towards the screen, and then they did a glass breaking thing, almost like the Stone Cold WrestleMania thing. This glass broke, and then Diesel was right there. So it was a cool little entrance for Diesel. So I'll give him that. But yeah, he goes around, he shakes hands with Lawrence Taylor, who was ringside, and we'll get back to LT in a little bit. There's a reason he's there at front row at ringside. But yeah, so Hart starts out just doing what he does best, trying to wrestle Diesel. Throw him off his game here. He gets fought off a little bit with the body slam. He gets clotheslined over the ropes. Diesel getting the upper hand with his strength here. They have a little slugfest on the apron, but Brett eventually gets the upper hand by tripping up Diesel and then going outside and wrapping his leg around the post on the outside. So immediately going after the leg. He works on the leg of Diesel for a little while. Bunch of long leg locks. Got a figure 4 in there as well. He's holding the ropes, a little long. Earl's letting it go a little bit, but he's kind of hanging on to those leg locks in the ropes a little long. But Brett, Diesel goes to the outside, and Brett hits out of nowhere, just sprints and hits a running tope through the ropes onto Diesel. Always fun when he kind of did that out of nowhere. Diesel then whips Brett into the steps to once again get the advantage. He hits a huge sidewalk slam on Brett. The sidewalk slam he hit on him was very big, very nice looking, but he only gets a 2 count. He works over, does his little work over in the corner, got some the boots and the elbows and back elbows, things like that. He goes for a gorilla press, but Brett falls on him for a 2 count. Brett rolls out. He goes to slow down Diesel a little bit. And he actually it does a similar thing. You think he's going to slam his leg in the ropes again, but he grabs his wrist tape and ties up Diesel's feet and starts to work on the feet of Diesel there. But Earl runs out there and releases Diesel. Inside, we get a bulldog for a 2 count, a Russian leg sweep, a backbreaker. So Brett really trying to work over Diesel here. Top rope sledge for a 2 count. Brett then gets Diesel under the ropes again. He goes for a plancha, but Diesel catches him on the outside, runs him into the post. So he gets the advantage here. And inside, Diesel out of nowhere hits the jackknife powerbomb. So you think it might be over here. But Shawn Michaels runs in and breaks up the 3 count and starts attacking Diesel. It's not a DQ somehow. Earl Hebner just lets this all go. He simply ejects Shawn Michaels and tells Howard Finkel that the match must continue. Put a pin in that for a second. So Brett just goes back to work on the knee, applies another figure 4. There's a submission in the ropes. Earl counts multiple times to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let it go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let it go. It's not a DQ. Brett's still hanging on, but eventually lets go. Diesel fights back with a big gut wrench suplex for a 2. Diesel's got a foot choke, but Brett wraps the leg again. And again, his leg is hanging there. Brett grabs a chair, hits Diesel's leg with a chair. It's not a DQ. Earl's still not calling for the bell, which is ridiculous. So they're just breaking rules left and right. Earl is just letting this thing go. Even the crowd at this point is starting to boo a little bit, thinking it should be a DQ at this point. They're even booing Brett, who is the face in this one. And then out of nowhere, Owen Hart comes out. He attacks Bret Hart. It's still not a DQ as he's just whipping Brett into an exposed turnbuckle. He's beating on him. Earl ejects him, but the match must continue, as he tells Howard Finkel. Diesel covers Brett, but only gets a 2 count. Brett then slams Diesel head into the exposed turnbuckle for a 2 count. They're slugging it out in the middle. Brett gets hung up in the ropes at one point. Diesel goes outside and grabs a chair. Earl Hebner stops him from using a chair. Why, Earl? You've let a chair go already. You've let everything go. At this point, I'm with Diesel. Grab a chair and go to work, because apparently he's not going to DQ you. But he stops Diesel from using the chair. But inside, Brett plays possum, grabbing his knee, gets a quick roll up, almost gets the 3 count, but Diesel kicks out. Brett eventually shoves Diesel. He goes into Earl Hebner. Earl goes down. Shawn Michaels, Bob Backlund, Jeff Jarrett, and Owen Hart all hit the ring. They start beating on everybody in sight. Earl Hebner finally throws out this damn match. It's a no contest. Everything just gets thrown out. Kind of a double disqualification situation. I wrote, what the fuck is going on? I hate this. And then Diesel eventually is able to kind of clear the ring once he gets back up. He goes to raise Brett's hand, but Hart refuses and shakes his hand and hugs him instead. So yeah, this is an interesting match. I have so many mixed feelings, because Brett is one of those guys that could get a decent match out of Diesel and use his strengths to his advantage and could tell a good story with like working on the leg and Diesel selling. And so that stuff in the match is good. I hated all these shenanigans. Like, I hate if you're going to do all this stuff, just make it an ODQ match. Like, just make it an ODQ match or relax rules or establish that at the beginning, and then you could have people running in. You could have Brett kind of pushing the rules a little bit. You could have them using stuff back and forth. It doesn't have to be a death match or anything like that. I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, make it a DQ, because Earl Hebner not throwing out this match multiple times, like literally 4 or 5 times, he should have disqualified somebody in this one. Literally people running in, attacking, chairs, everything. I hated this. I hated the shenanigans of this match. And I saw a lot of positive stuff online, several reviews I read of this one. I disagree. I ended up not liking it at all by the end of it and just throwing my hands in the air. So, but Jacob, do you recall this one at all, or have any thoughts about it? It's ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah, it's overbooked. It's ridiculous. I think it was like, 95 was also just kind of a weird year for Brett, because I don't think he would get another shot at Diesel until Survivor Series, where they would go in a no DQ match. And leading up to that, it's when he had feuds with Jerry Lawler and Bob Backlund, Isaac Yankem. He had a SummerSlam match with, and finally got the title, I think, at Survivor Series. So weird year for Brett. This match, like, I think just kind of kicked it off. I think the two can work together. I really like the no DQ Survivor Series match. So it's a shame that this one they couldn't just let the two work. They had to throw in 5 other guys. Like, hey, we're gonna see a Rumble in a little bit where we'll see 30 guys. Let that be the multi-man match. I don't know. Like, I think JPO has also said this. If you're gonna give me a title match on pay-per-view, let's have a decisive winner. I think it's
finish. Yeah.
I want to finish. So yeah, I think it's also just this is how 95 is gonna be.
Yeah, no, it was JPO, you got anything more?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree that there's too many shenanigans. I feel I would definitely hate watch this more if it was like now. Like, I feel like now that it's like kind of in the past, I forgave it probably more than you did. But like, a little too much. Because otherwise, I thought it was a pretty decent match. Brett's another one, not surprisingly, that I felt always brought the best out in Diesel. Like, easily Diesel's best title matches were Brett's. So
yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with that. And when it was just them working the match, I was fine with it. There was like 5 different Earl Hebner won't call for a DQ shenanigans, and it just made me like, and it just killed the match in general for me. You know what I mean? What I thought could have been a really good match, just these guys doing a thing. If you want to have like one person interfere or one little thing of shenanigans, again, I that's fine. I understand there's like feuds going on. I get it, but like it was just too much. It was too much, way overbooked, too much shit going on. So, So I overall, I was not a big fan of this, but the work was okay. Dynamics point. Yeah, Brett, even when he's a face, always worked like a heel, because in this match, like he's like stretching the rules a little bit. He's being aggressive, like he always did kind of work like that. He just kind of worked a Brett match. Like Brett was going to work like Brett, no matter if you cheered him or hated him. He worked like Brett. So, he did his thing. All right. So,
my other quick fun fact, real quick trivia for you. Yeah. Who's the last person ever tapped to the sharpshooter in a match?
The Miz.
No.
Flair.
No,
is it Vince?
Way weirder. No, it's weirder.
Weirder.
It's Alberto Del Rio's ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez.
That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, no, he does.
He talked about that on
for the U.S. title in May of 2010. But then he has several more matches, including house show matches.
Right.
But in September of 2011, him and Cena defeated Del Rio and Ricardo in under 4 minutes, where Ricardo taps to the sharpshooter.
I remember that now. Ricardo, he talked about that on Van Vliet's.
I'm sure that's his claim to fame, baby.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, there you go. All right, we are back with Pettingale and Pamela Anderson. She's behind one of those kind of folding dressing things you see in movies and whatnot. So she's changing her clothes, asked Todd to hand her something, and so she's changing, getting ready to come out for the main event. And then Stephanie, our girl Stephanie, was back with the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bob Sparkplug Holly. Oh, yeah, we finally get appearance of the Spark Plug. Oh, yes, in full NASCAR gear. And basically, they're just jumping around and hooting and hollering and getting ready for their tag title match. It's not much of an actual promo. But we do get our tag team title match here before the Royal Rumble. And what this was a match to crown the vacant tag team champions. This is a culmination of a tournament. So these are the final teams in the tournament. We've got Bam Bam Bigelow and Tatanka of the $1 Million Corporation taking on the makeshift underdog team here of the 1-2-3 Kid and Bob Sparkplug Holly here in the finals. So we start out with Tatanka and Holly going back and forth. Tatanka hits a big side slam. Holly fights back with some drop kicks. He always had good drop kicks. I'll give him that. The big standoff there. Kid and Bam Bam Bigelow tag in. This is the most fun of the match. Anytime 1-2-3 Kid and Bam Bam Bigelow were in there, I want to see these guys wrestle one-on-one. This was awesome. Anytime these guys were in there, I posted something in the group. I don't know if you guys saw it, the spot from the match.
Yeah.
I was like,
Claudio Castagnoli, like Neville type shit. You know?
It was great. Yeah, this was good stuff. Bam comes in. He's kind of laying out both guys here for a second. He does a huge beal to 1-2-3 Kid. I mean, just launches him like all the way across the ring. Of course, Kid was always a good seller around this time. The spot I showed you guys, for those who didn't see it, basically he whips off 1-2-3 Kid. He goes to pop him up almost like he's going to do a pop-up kind of power bomb or a backdrop or something like that. And Kid comes back down and catches him in a Rana. And it was just a great spot, like, again, showing what Bam could do as a big guy, how he could move. These two guys had really good chemistry here, so I was really enjoying any time they were in the ring. But Tatanka tags back in. He beats up on Kid a little bit. Bam tags back in, hits a big standing suplex and a couple of shoulder tackles. But Kid eventually fights back as he pulls the ropes down on a charging Bam Bam and then drop kicks Tatanka into Bam. So they collide. Both get caught off the top. There's a couple of lawn dart attempts as both the big guys try to lawn dart Bob, Holly, and 1-2-3 Kid into each other, but they're able to fight off of that. Holly eventually gets whipped over the top rope, which Bam pulls down, and he goes to the outside. Inside Tatanka eventually starts working over Holly and Kid. Big man's kind of keeping the advantage here for the most part. Tag into Bam. Match kind of turns around a little bit when Bam Bam's down there. He's fighting with Holly. Tatanka comes off the top to try to chop Holly, but chops Bam instead on the top of the head. But Bam eventually throws Holly out. Holly tries to sunset flip back in, but Bam does the sit out splash onto him and only gets a 2 count. Holly tries to tag it to Tatanka because he's so out of it. He doesn't know what corner he's in. So they start pounding on him. Tatanka with a big gut wrench suplex and a clothesline. But eventually they both collide in kind of a double crossbody spot, so they're both down. Kid tags in, hits a huge big spin kick. Again, I was happy to see Kid back in because he starts working with Bam again. Hits a huge, like, crazy spin kick to him, big drop kicks and enziguris to him. And all of a sudden just spins around, hits a huge somersault plancha over the top rope to Tatanka. Crowd's going nuts for Kid anytime he's in there. But Bam's up. He tosses, gorilla presses Kid onto the floor out there. And then Bam goes up top, again, facing the crowd, kind of backwards, but there's a miscommunication. Tatanka goes to back into the ropes, accidentally knocks Bam off the ropes, so he falls backwards, and they do a gimmick to where he like hits his head and he's like knocked out. But eventually, he falls and hits his head. 1-2-3 crawls in and is able to get the pin while Holly hangs on to Tatanka. So your winners and new tag team champions, but I'm sure as JPO will tell me, not for very long. 1-2-3 Kid and Bob Sparkplug Holly, who are at least victorious tonight. So it was your typical like underdog tag team versus this big dominant tag team. The two bigger guys stomping away on them. But again, it had its highlights. Anytime again 1-2-3 Kid and Bam Bam were in there, they had electric chemistry. I wish they had like some singles match. I don't know if they did. Maybe Jake could confirm that. I don't think they did, but man, I would love to see these guys go like one-on-one. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Because
what's the old match, Bigelow and Pac? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Bigelow and like 1-2-3 Kid or Pac or anything like that. Yeah, if they ever had like a one-on-one, because man, they had really good chemistry. Because Bam can move. Obviously, he's a big guy that can move and doesn't mind doing those spots with little guys, and just was a great little anchor. So, not a bad little tag match here. But Jacob, any thoughts on this one or recollections of it? You're muted, by the way. You're muted, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like you said, anytime 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bam Bam were in there. That was a nice dynamic. So
yeah,
I think it was a little decent tag match. I think maybe they sandwiched it in here because it's like, all right, we're gonna give them a cool down for the Rumble, and I think maybe it was, I don't know, maybe for me, I could be in the minority on this one, but I think maybe it was on par, maybe not quite on par with the championship match. I still think the level of work there with Hart and Diesel was a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, decent title match. And shout out to Spark Plug Bob Holly.
Yeah, it would just become a joke later with Jerry Lawler and the Job Squad, you know what I mean, of like Spark Plug, just him leaving in the past and being kind of an old joke. But eventually, when Bob cut his hair, then he became Hardcore Holly. That's how you know.
The race driver Job Squad, and that weird thing with Bart Gunn, and then he's a badass.
Yeah, and then he's badass Hardcore Holly. But JPO.
I'm coming up good. I mean, hey, their reign actually wasn't too bad. Their reign was give or take 24 hours. They didn't even make it past Raw. The very next night, they dropped them to the Smoking Guns.
Yeah.
Yep, 24 hours later on the 23rd. So yeah, that tag team not very long. There is one singles match. You have to go to Action Zone. So a couple weeks prior, or a few weeks prior, about a month prior, Bam Bam Bigelow defeated 1, 2, 3 Kid in under 8 minutes. So maybe find that.
I'd like to see them go 8 minutes is not bad. Like for a big man, little man match, it's not bad. I'd like to see that. Maybe they could get in that one. Yeah.
This is the main event. Let's see. Oh, that was the only match on that show. All right. Everything else must have been recaps. Hardcore Holly. He had the best technical WWF run out of all these guys if we go longevity, because he'd be rocking until 2008. Last time we saw him was actually when he did that weird thing with where him and Cody Rhodes lost to Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase and Night of Champions. That would be Harley's exit of the WWE. He'd wrestled about another 10 years, though. He hasn't wrestled since 2019. One random TNA appearance, by the way. X-Pac run would end in 2002, July 2002. Kind of an infamous match as well. Is that 10-man tag? You know, the one where like Kevin Nash is returning to the ring for the first time in months, gets tagged, and his knee immediately buckles out.
Yeah, that's a pretty
last match.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. When it was in that failed, like, that wasn't NWO, was it? Like when they kind of tried to bring back.
It's NWO. It's Nash, Big Show, and Pac teaming with Benoit and Guerrero against a bunch of faces. Yeah, and like it's been months since because what is it? This is July. We hadn't seen him wrestle since maybe like, and even then he only done like a couple like random tags and like when they returned in February and March. That's why he's not on that. He's not even on that Mania card that year, if you remember. Scott fights Steve Austin, and then Hogan fights Rock. Of course, there's not even a Kevin Nash match because he didn't really do it.
Yeah.
X-Pac would then, of course, do several other places, TNA and whatnot. He did wrestle Joe Janela, of all people, in his last match ever, 2022. And it does sound like that will be in his last match. It sounds like due to health and other reasons that it seems unlikely he's going to come back. Although Rumble, hey, come on, Bam Bam Bigelow would last not much longer. He'd be losing to Goldust at Survivor Series this year, 1995, and then he'd bounce from the WWF. Would have a WCW run. We would lose him, unfortunately, in 2007. His last match would take place in 2006 at an ACW show in Florida, which years later I ended up working for that same company, actually. Tatanka also had a kind of interesting WWF run. He'd last till March of next year, March of 96. So he'd have an out, do the indies, and then very random return in 2006 of all time. So even 2005, he fought Eugene once, but then signed in 2006, have another little run. Actually ended up winning his last match. He defeats Jimmy Wang Yang on a January 2007 episode, and that's his last contracted match. But remember, he was in that random Andre the Giant Battle Royal in 2016, unannounced, where it's the entire roster and him and DDP for some reason. Okay, and they've never done that since.
I forgot to mention after the match, Bam, because it's important, he goes over and he's ringside and gets into a shoving match with LT, who, to his credit, JPO, before he would leave, he would main event WrestleMania, technically WrestleMania 11. Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam, the main event of WrestleMania. Yeah,
main eventing in March and then quitting in September or getting fired either way.
Yeah, but he did main event WrestleMania before he left, technically. So good on. So there you go. But yeah, they kind of have a show match to set up that dynamic later. So yeah, we go to some kind of pre-taped promos talking about the Rumble. We get one from Sean. He cuts a promo about the Rumble. Lex Luger. So they're making it very, very clear who kind of the two front runners are here, with Sean and Lex Luger. Because trust me when I say they're pretty much the only ones you buy to even win this thing today. So it's one of those Rumbles where there's some clear front runners and pretty much nobody else. We see some highlights from the '94 Rumble where Bret Hart and Lex Luger tied and had their tie, for the Rumble, if you remember, the two winners. And Vince assures that will never happen again, because I think he kind of regretted it about a year later booking that.
They still have yet to do that. They've done it on random battle royals, never in a Rumble again.
Yes,
we've seen them technically, but then they went, no, fuck it.
They restarted it. Yeah. No, we're not going to do that. And that was kind of an accident. They hit literally the exact same time.
True. And on top of that, too,
Yeah. So Pamela Anderson makes her way down to the ring, and the thing is, she will escort the winner, be the valet of the Royal Rumble winner, to WrestleMania. So she's sitting ringside for this one. We get some occasional shots of her. And yes, it is time for our 1995 Royal Rumble. This is a very quick one and a fast one. I don't know if this is the shortest one ever. Maybe JPO can confirm, but yeah.
I was going to look. Yeah, it's under 39. Yeah, it's 38-40.
38 and change. Yeah, because we have 60-second intervals for this one. So this is going to be very, very quick. So if I don't have a lot to say in between, it's because they've got, by the time they get to the ring, it's like 45 seconds and another guy comes out. So,
not counting too, just in case any nerds are out there, not counting 88s, because that is a 20-man Rumble. That is shorter. But again, that's 10 less people. And only shorter by like 8 minutes or like 6 minutes. I'm bad at math. But so just say not even that much shorter with 10 less people.
Yeah, but as far as like our 30-man traditional, like
that's what I'm saying. Traditional, I believe it does. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the shortest one. So we do get Shawn Michaels entering at number 1. So he makes his way to the ring as number 1. And our number 2 is the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, out here at number 2. So two of the bigger stars, at least, starting the Rumble here, one-on-one against each other, men who've faced each other many, many times. So they go to work on each other. Shawn jumps him kind of before the match officially starts. Davey fights back with a big back body drop and a press slam, although it's weird because even the announcers point out he's got him up in like the press slam. He could easily just go over and toss him over the ropes, but he doesn't. He just drops him kind of right there. And even Jerry Lawler's like, what an idiot. He should have just tossed him over the ropes and eliminated him, but he doesn't.
I bet he regrets that later.
I'm sure he does. But yes, so some whips in the corner. Davey catches Shawn's boot. But yeah, just that quickly, 60 seconds up, and our number 3 is Eli Blue. Anybody remember who Eli Blue is?
Still other former world champions.
Yeah. So Eli Blue, which this is what I was referring to earlier. Those fucking Harris brothers. I can't get away from them either, no matter what we watch. WCW, TNA, WWF. These damn Harris brothers are everywhere. I swear to God, just like Jeff Jarrett.
They were repackaged as DOA. They had a WCW run under like 3 different names. TNA, for whatever reason, put them up.
I forgot about this Blue Brothers thing. But this is when they still had hair. So they got a big mane of hair. This Eli Blue dressing kind of like the Berserker a little bit, and sort of a gimmick, but a little bit. That's who I thought it was at first. So he comes in, starts beating on both guys. He's a big guy, so he tries to eliminate both guys, but it's unsuccessful. And just like that, our number 4, 6 seconds are up quickly. Duke the Dumpster Drosy, who we just saw in the Battle Riot. Remember JPO? Not long ago. So Duke the Dumpster, this is his first Rumble, I believe they make note of. So he comes in, pounds on Shawn a little bit, and applies a bear hug. And just like that, these are going to be quick because it's 60 seconds, so there's not much going on in between these things. They got about 45 seconds to do something, and then it's somebody else is coming in. Number 5 is the Gigolo, Jimmy Del Rey of the Heavenly Bodies. A lot of tag teams in this Rumble, so keep note of that. But Jimmy Del Rey comes in. This is one of those things, guys, where it's like, you remember how in the 92 Rumble that Flair was in? Everybody would come in and immediately go to Flair and start like working with Flair so they get their spot in with Flair, like punch him, self him, whatever. This one, it's like everybody comes in and goes to Shawn because they know Shawn will do his little selling for them for the 45 seconds or whatever. So if you see me say they immediately go after Shawn, it's because they were trying to get their spot in with Shawn. So Jimmy Del Rey goes over there and lays into Shawn a little bit. Our number 6 is Sione, who is the Barbarian repackaged for a little while as part of the Head Shrinkers, but I forgot about.
Right,
but it's the Barbarian here. So he comes in, and while he's in there, British Bulldog eliminates Jimmy Del Rey, tosses him over the top. Siona goes after Sean. Our number 7 is the other half of the heavily body. He's got Tom Pritchard, Dr. Tom, as some of you guys would know as. He comes in. Siona press slams Sean in the middle, and then Eli and Tom are kind of battling a little bit. Number 8 is Doink the Clown. As the Clown makes his entrance into this matchup, Doink goes after Sione. I guess they've had some kind of feud, but yeah, there's corner stuff, just kind of not much going on. A lot of corner stuff all over the place. Number 9 is Quang, who you know is Savio Vega. So Quang in here. So he comes in.
Here's your front runner.
Yeah, there you go. There's your your favorite there. Quang coming in. I just wrote people doing stuff because there's just people doing stuff. This isn't like the later Rumbles where it would stop and somebody would like do a big spot or something like that. It's just kind of like people come in and just start doing things. Your corner chokes, you're lift the guy over the ropes, you're hanging the guy up top, all kinds of stuff. Number 10 is the model, Rick Martel. He comes in. They mentioned at the time this is the model's 7th Rumble. So at the time he was the guy who had been in the most Rumbles at that point. Who I believe the person who would eclipse him later was Kane, I believe.
That might be a good future WWE question.
Yeah, up until either Kane or Rikishi, because I know Rikishi was in a whole bunch of them too. So maybe up until before then, who was the guy with the most Rumble appearances? Rick the Model Martel. So there you
that
go.
Makes sense. I was a kind of a mitter, so like never in another match. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do mention that this is his 7th Rumble. So take note, JPO, for a future wrestling with trivia. Yeah. That's a good question. But there you go. But yeah, he comes out. We do a few things. Number 11 is Owen Hart. Owen, so got a big star coming out. But unfortunately, he is attacked by Brett in the aisle before he can even get to the ring. But he does eventually make it into the Rumble. He just gets attacked kind of very quickly here. Timothy Well is out next of the very popular tag team Well Done. Anybody? Well done. Well done. That's got to be a Who Dat tag team, right? Well done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But while as Timothy Well comes in, Sean eliminates Duke the Dumpster. Bulldog eliminates Owen, but it's off camera. They miss it. They show a replay later. But while we weren't looking, Bulldog eliminates Owen very quickly. So Owen doesn't make it very far in this Rumble, unfortunately. Martel gets thrown out. Timothy Wall gets thrown out. Pritchard out. So they're kind of clearing some of the geeks here, whittling down a little bit because it was getting very heavy of dorks here in this Rumble. So we clear the ring out a little bit. Bushwhacker Luke is number 13. Doink gets thrown out during this. Eli and Sione kind of eliminate each other as they get tossed over. Sean throws out Bushwhacker Luke very quickly. And just like that, we have cleared the geeks and we are back to Sean and Davey, all alone in the ring. So they've done this a couple of times, in different Rumbles, but we get back down to kind of the number 1 and number 2 here. But our number 14 is Jacob Blue, the other Harris brother. So he is in here. He charges Sean, but gets thrown out pretty quickly. So it's still Sean and Davey in here together. Number 15, we finally got a big threat here. King Kong Bundy enters the Rumble. So he's a pretty big man, big threat here. Comes in and starts pounding on Davey. Hits Sean a little bit. Number 16 is Mo of the Men on a Mission. Again, I'm going through this quickly because it's literally like 60 seconds, like boom, boom. I mean, it's not boring to say the least. Like there's people coming out all the time. So there's always something going on, but mostly just because there's always people coming out. But Mo comes in. He's thrown out in 3 seconds by Bundy. So I think at the time, JPO, this was the new record. Mo getting thrown out. I believe he broke the Bushwhacker.
Does he beat the Bush? Okay.
I think they mentioned he beats the Bushwhacker of like 4.5 seconds or something because he gets thrown out literally within about 3 seconds. So I believe Mo at the time set the new record of the shortest elimination. Davey tries to slam Bundy, but he loses that battle there. Number 17 is another big super heavyweight because Mabel comes in from Men on a Mission. He squares off a Bundy. Crowd pops for this. I mean, they like when the big monsters, have a big face-off. They start to slug it out a little bit. Bushwhacker Butch is in next at number 18. But while he comes in, Mabel eventually works over Bundy and is able to toss him over the top rope. So hats off to Mabel for tossing the big man out. And Sean quickly eliminates Butch as well. So Sean taking out both the Bushwhackers here in quick succession. Number 19, we finally get another big star. We got Lex Luger making his way to the ring at number 19. He comes out and attacks Martel. Martel and throws him, attacks Mabel, not Martel. Martel's already out. He attacks Mabel and is able to muscle Mabel out over the ropes. So the crowd pops big for that. Him muscling out the super heavyweight there. Good spot. He presses again, Gorilla presses Shawn Michaels and goes after Davey as well. Our number 20 is our boy Mantar. Mantar enters at number 20. So another parade of geeks incoming here, as you'll hear. Mantar enters. He stomps on Davey a little bit. It's a big hip toss. Number 21 is Aldo Montoya, the future Just Incredible here under the mask. Comes in here. They double team. There's a little double team on Mantar. Shawn kind of jabs and works over Aldo in the corner. Our number 22 is Henry Godwin. Henry Godwin coming in here. Only one of the Godwins tonight, not both of them. Nothing going on much here. Number 23 is our boy Billy Gunn, who is still active. Billy Gunn here, the 95 Rumble of the Smoking Guns. Him and his jeans make his way out. And there's literally a spot where there's 3 different spots where dudes hanging upside down, like almost getting pushed over the ropes here. So again, not much going on. But number 24, conveniently, his partner Bart Gunn in. So both the Smoking Guns are in here, and they jump on Mantar and try to get him out. The ring is filling up once again with a bunch of geeks and a couple of stars. Our number 25 is Mr. Backlund. Bob Backlund is in, but as Backlund gets in the ring, he is jumped again by Bret Hart coming out and attacking Backlund, and Bret gets pulled away here. Again, they would go on to have a WrestleMania match, so we're kind of setting that up here a little bit. Number 26 is Steven Dunn, the other half of Well Done. I just wrote here, man, what a bunch of fucking geeks in this ring, man. There's just a bunch of dorks. Mantar and Aldo Montoya and Godwin and the Guns and the Dunn and Well and the Push. Just, oh my God, so many dorks. But Luger eliminates Bob Backlund and throws him out. Bret again attacks Backlund again on the outside, so he's just on a rampage tonight. Our number 27 is 49-year-old Dick Murdoch coming in as a surprise entrance to the Rumble. So the old school Dick Murdoch in here. So unfortunately, he would pass away a year later. So I looked this up. So this is one of his last kind of major TV appearances. He did not live very much longer than this. But he kind of brawls with everybody a little bit. Number 28 is Adam Bomb. Brian Clark coming in here and pounding on a few people. Our number 29 is Fatu, the soon-to-be Rikishi, in at number 29. As he comes in, Luger's able to toss Mantar. So Mantar lasting a little longer than I thought he would. And our final number 30, everybody, big star incoming, Crush. Crush is number 30. Yeah. So Crush is in number 30. I wrote both the Chronic members are out here because we got Brian Clark and Brian Adams here in the same Rumble. So Crush tosses both the Guns. Aldo Montoya eliminates Stephen Dunn. Fatu and Murdoch trade some headbutts, but Murdoch loses that battle because you don't headbutt a Samoan. Maybe Dick Murdoch never learned that in all of his years. So Vince once again says only one man can run the Rumble this time. Lawler points out that 2 men won it last year, and that's when Vince says, "Yeah, that'll never happen again." So just kind of throwing out that we're not going to do that anymore. But Crush eliminates Adam Bomb, so one member of Chronic eliminating the other member of Chronic here. So surprised that never came up later in their history. There you go. Shawn throws out Aldo Montoya. Murdoch tries to toss Shawn, but fails in that. Crush tosses Fatu after a big lariat. Murdoch hits a huge dropkick to Godwin. He, a 49-year-old throwing a big dropkick, so not bad there. Tries for an airplane spin, but he gets tossed over the top by Henry. Luger back body drops Henry Godwin over the rope. So we're down to our final 4 here. Finally, we got Crush, Shawn Michaels, Lex Luger, and the British Bulldog. So take your picks here of who's going to win this one. Crush and Shawn. Yeah, go Crush. Yeah. And even Lawler is always being a weirdo. He's just like, Crush came out. He's like, Crush is my pick. Yeah, the big man Crush. Doing his thing. Crush and Shawn, they double team Luger in the corner. Luger goes up to hit the 10 punches on Crush, but Shawn rushes over and pushes Luger out over the top rope and to the outside. So one of the favorites, Lex Luger, is eliminated here. So we're down to Crush, Shawn, and the Bulldog. It was a double. They go to double team Crush and Sean go to double team Bulldog with a double clothesline. Crush then turns on Sean very quickly, goes to toss him over the ropes, but Sean rakes his eyes and Bulldog hits a running clothesline, eliminates Crush. So we're back to our 1 and 2. Sean and the Bulldog here. They were number 1 and 2, and then the final 2 here in the Rumble. So the big ovation for that. The crowd there's a little pause, and the crowd giving a big ovation for that. These two guys lasting a long time. Bulldog once again is able to get the gorilla press, and he goes this time to actually throw Sean over the ropes. But Sean's able to escape. But Bulldog quickly then runs and clotheslines Sean over the top rope. He hangs on slightly, but we hear a bell ring, and we think that Sean has touched the floor and has eliminated, even though it goes so far as Bulldog gets up on the turnbuckle. He is celebrating. They play his music. The announcer announces him as the winner of the Royal Rumble. Sean then rushes back in and shoves Bulldog, who is on the ropes, over the ropes and to the floor. One of the referees go in and raise Sean's hand. We see the replay and find out, of course, this is where the rule came from. He went over the top, he hung on, and only one of his feet touched the floor. His right foot touched the floor, but his left foot did not, and he was able to kind of swing himself back into the ring, so he was not eliminated. Both of his feet did not touch the floor. Bulldog distracted, and Sean comes in for the victory. So, yeah, again, a very historic kind of, finish there, and a very memorable one where we get kind of the 2-foot rule here. But, yeah, so Shawn Michaels wins the Royal Rumble, and Pamela Anderson, comes in to celebrate with him. So that's it, man. Yeah, so probably the least star-studded Rumble in history. I just talked about Jacob about how this Rumble we're about to have already has like 9 or 10 big stars already announced. We've got stars in this Rumble. We got people with storylines. There's investment in this one. This one, it was pretty much like Sean and Luger, and that was about it. Yeah. Maybe Bulldog, but like pretty much like probably 3 guys. 3 guys you think realistically, and man, like I said, a whole bunch of dorks in this Rumble that had zero chance whatsoever. But hey, it's not the worst Rumble I've ever seen, because at least it's fast paced. So the 60 seconds, it was a bunch of geeks, but there's a whole parade of them. It's an interesting snapshot again of where the WWF was at this time. People who had to look up and be like, who was that? Timothy, what? Well done. Oh yeah, well done. The Blue Brothers. Oh, those damn Harris. But I was like looking people up while we were doing this. But Jacob, any thoughts on this Rumble if you've watched this one?
Yeah, it's not one that I go back to very often. It is fast paced, and there is some good action, but I do think it's just weird, how they decided to, quicken the pace by going 60 seconds. I think 90
is the sweet spot to me. That's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Just enough time to do some spots if you want to do some spots, but it doesn't. They've done some 2-minute Rumbles where it feels like it drags,
Yeah,
when they
2 minutes is too much.
90 seconds is perfect. It's like that. Yeah.
I was looking it up. There were 18 people who lasted about 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
And there were a good chunk of those that were under a minute. Like they were just in and then they were out. Like
Mo and like the 2 Bushwhackers and a couple other guys were under a minute, like very, very quickly. Yeah.
You had 2 3-second eliminations with Owen Hart and Mo. Which by the way is not the record. Was the Warlord in '89 was eliminated in 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Which would then later be beat by Santino, who was like 1.9 or something like that. I don't know if that's accurate or if that's just WWE saying no. Santino's the record holder now.
Yeah.
He's like in and out. Yeah, but yeah, they're both I think third, and it's weird that they happened in the same Rumble.
Right.
Yeah. What was it from Owen Hart to Bushwhacker Butch? Nobody lasted. Oh no, King Kong Bundy. Sorry. King Kong Bundy lasted 3 minutes, but nobody lasted more than like 30, 45 seconds. They were in and then they were out.
Yeah. Right.
This was basically, it's Sean and Bulldog and friends.
And Luger.
And Luger. Yeah,
Luger to a degree because they did actually have a promo with him before the Rumble. Like he was definitely still one of the big stars like in it. So it was one of those 3 though. But like, yeah, if you put your money on anybody one of those 3, you're an idiot. you're a dope. And they made it very obvious who the 3 kind of front runners, were in this Rumble for sure, and then not anybody else. But it was still an interesting snapshot of early 95, who's tooling around here, and the different tag teams and some of the other people. So JPO, any thoughts on this 95 Rumble? Any overall?
I was trying to see if there was any other short Rumbles out there.
Yeah.
Almost nothing that goes under 50 minutes. The closest one, actually no. So the second shortest one is 49-24, and what is surprising, 2010 actually, the one where Edge wins. So that one ended up, I guess, being kind of a quickie as well. Everything else
I
is over
remember
50.
that. I think
yeah.
There was I think there were only like 3 or 4 people left by the time number 30 came out.
Yeah, it might have a quick ending as well, which can help, So yeah, that's easily the closest one. Everything else was not well over, but at least over 50. A few of them were in the 50-52 mark, but yeah, so usually several in well over an hour. Yeah, no, I mean not much. Like I said, this is a Rumble that while I'm a huge Shawn fan and I love the ending, I love that it's not gonna put them in touch. We always say both feet touch the floor, and so it's iconic for that. But otherwise, this is a pretty skippable Rumble. Always has been. I'll even jump on 96 more because at least 96 has Triple H's the Iron Man, and there's Vader's debut, and there's Diesel, and there's shit's kind of happening a little bit more than this one here.
Right.
So yeah, this one it's just fine here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, overall, yeah, as an event, again, not like the worst event I've ever seen, because, you got a couple of okay matches on here. I think Jared and Razor are okay, have a Southern style okay match. Yeah, IRS and Undertaker's pretty boring. Yeah, you can easily skip that. Diesel and Brett, just for the overbooking, is interesting, but it's not a good match, in my opinion. I would rather see these guys have a straight up, just decent match because I know they can. And then the tag match was all right, for what it was. Decent stuff, in highlights. And then the Rumble, it's not the most boring Rumble ever. I've seen more boring Rumbles that where it's just nothing happening and
kind of a fun snapshot of what the company was.
Right.
Because it is all their roster members. It is Mantar, Quang, Aldo Montoya. You don't see those guys in many matches, so
I appreciate it as a snapshot of the period and whatnot. And at least it's a bunch of geeks, but it's fast. So we're not wasting too much time. There's always something going on. But I've seen worse Rumbles overall, but it would still be in that lower half just for sake of just not much going on and not very memorable. Yeah, other than the Shawn.
And if you love Rumbles, we have ours in May. Because I stole the Rumble as a yearly concept.
We actually did a United Pro thing I worked for in Georgia. We did 3 different Rumbles. We actually had 20 a couple of 20-person Rumbles. And the winner of that one, the first one won the actual title. We went 92, WWF with it, and then won our title. And then we did sort of a Money in the Bank type gimmick where somebody would win a contract, for a title match, whenever they wanted as part of the Rumble.
We normally do the fun ones. You get a title shot. We do sometime in the summer, usually May, June, July, and then you get a title shot at the August show, which is our anniversary show, which is kind of like Romania, kind of sort of. So,
yeah. I called a couple of those. There's a few online. You can go check them out if you like United Pro Rumble. You can go find them online. You can find old.
Check those out. Then check out some real Pro Rumbles. Hell yeah!
Yeah, there you go. We both got Rumbles that we were associated with because I called some of those as well as being the ref on the outside. Austin Howell calling the action and Pez calling the action in the ring. Just don't tell anybody. So no, overall an event, it's whatever. It's just kind of there. Not the worst I've ever seen, not the best I've ever seen. Just kind of mediocre. Any thoughts overall, you guys, before we wrap it up on this whole event? As in general, anything?
Yeah, I'll kind of just echo what you were saying. Yeah, it's a nice snapshot of where the company was at the time, but it's not one of those events that I'm gonna, probably revisit very often. But there are some moments on the show, like you said, the opener is decent. They're working a really good match. Anytime 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bam Bam are in the ring, check that out.
And that match, by the way, it's not on YouTube, but it's on Daily Motion. If you search Google videos, the Daily Motion link pops up. So I want to go watch that. Yeah, the Daily Motion, the one-on-one match, because I want to see those guys chemistry one-on-one. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 and Bam Bam. Because I want to check that out, but it's on Daily Motion at least, so I can see it somewhere.
And then I was looking. This is another. I was looking it up to see if Shawn and Lex ever had a one-on-one match. Never. Nope. They tagged a lot, actually. They didn't tag a lot. They tagged, and then Shawn and Diesel. They were on some tour where they were defending the tag titles against Lex Luger and Razor Ramon. but never a one-on-one from what I could find. I was wondering if
that's so weird because Shawn was a pretty big heel at the time, and Lexa was a big face. You thought they would have faced off somewhere, SummerSlam, or I mean, I know they didn't, but like Survivor Series, something like in there.
I thought
in your
for
house.
sure.
Like, yeah, no, it's weird. One of the matches that just never happened.
What their styles would have been like in a one-on-one setting, but
I'm sure Shawn could have got a decent match out of Luger. I mean, he got a good match out of he got good matches out of Diesel. He got good matches out of Sid Vicious. He got good matches out of those guys. I'm sure he'd get a good one out of Luger. So yeah.
Then I do. I forgot to mention this one. Talking about the Rumble itself, I do dig the ending. I'm kind of glad we haven't done that since. It's kind of like unique to this. So.
No, instead they pivoted to Kofi Kingston finding ways for his feet not to touch.
Right.
But sorry, I the one that pisses me off. Sorry, if you're just standing on pancakes, that's bullshit. You're eliminated. Fuck out of here. that's nonsense.
That one was kind of pushing it. I think
technically, can't you be like, oh, I'll put a piece of paper on the ground. If I stand on a piece of paper, am I not eliminated? Like, get out of here. You're eliminated. You're standing on the ground.
The pancakes are on the
Stop.
I think what I want to do this year.
Yeah,
I gotta sell it for you this year.
Yeah.
Then Kofi gets thrown to the outside. He's on like the apron or something, or he's on like the desk, right? He's far from the ring. And he goes, "Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?" And then Xavier he's outside already, punches the ref in the face, and distracts the other refs, and Kofi just walks back in.
Oh, that could get some heat. Yeah, if the refs don't see it, did it happen? I don't know.
Well, that's 97 with Stone Cold.
Yeah, that was Stone Cold because he crawls back in.
They've never really done that.
Yeah, because he crawls. Yeah, nobody sees him get eliminated. He crawls back in, eliminates somebody, right? Yeah. So that's
like Vader. What is it? Like Vader and someone else like doing shenanigans, and literally Stone Cold goes up and he's like, "Nobody's telling me to leave. All right,
nobody's telling me to leave. I'm back in." Yeah.
Wins the match.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're a heel, like I don't mind that as a thing, but as far as I remember, like man, lately they have like 6 referees out there, so that would take a lot of work to distract like 6 referees in the Rumble. Like they have everybody out there, so that would be very tricky. Maybe back in the days,
just have 4, and then you'd have Xavier be like he could throw something around. The other 3 come, hey, what the hell, man?
Yeah. So I don't know. No, I'm interested to see if they go back to that. Yeah, now that they're heels and do something, shady to get back in. So yeah, I can see them being in the Rumble. But yeah, no, throw it back to you, Jacob. That's all I got for Royal Rumble 1995. So yeah, interesting little show.
JP, did you have any overall thoughts you wanted to share? Real quick?
Anything else?
I had a lot, but no one came to me, so now I don't want to share.
All right. So anyway,
no, like I said, no, I mean it was fun enough. Like I said, I enjoyed the opening of the tag and whatnot. Brendan Diesel also could have been shortened too, a little too long.
It's
but
like 20 minutes or something. Oh my god!
Yeah. So I think kind of worth checking out. I think it's always fun to go back a little bit and kind of get refreshing. This is where the company was. These fun like 90s era. I have some nostalgia. I have nostalgia for it. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't say I don't go up and, just watch Rumble matches, before the Rumble, just to, get in the spirit of things. And, kudos to WWE, obviously there's the network, but they also upload a whole bunch of the full Rumble matches on their YouTube channel. They just have a whole bunch of them just available. A good idea. Again, they get views, like one of them has like 20 million views, like 2006 or something crazy. Like if you look it up, like it's just nuts. Some of those have very high views. So, I mean, they're good money makers for them. So, yeah, good on them because you can watch this one just straight up on YouTube if you wanted to, just the Rumble match. But yeah, that's all I got. So we'll do another one next year when the Rumble comes around. We'll spin the wheel again. See what we get. Yeah,
it's always fun going back and watching these old Rumbles. I'll do that occasionally. Just
this one was pertinent because I didn't even think about it. But yeah, we watched a Rumble from 30 years ago even. So there you go.
Just about, because it was the 22nd and today's the 23rd. So just about 30 years ago to the day.
Yeah.
So good job, Wheel.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, we'll reconvene next week. Well, they will, and Richie, I'm sure we'll be back. I'll be watching some Whose Line Is It Anyway live. My sister got tickets, so that's where I will be next Thursday. Hoping Ryan notice me. Also from the state of Washington. Shout out to the state of Washington. But yeah, we will be doing Royal Rumble predictions. Are we spinning the wheel of entries numbers again? Are we doing that?
Ooh, are we doing that again? Yeah, we did. We've been doing that's a kind of a tradition, right?
We've been doing that for the last couple of years, so.
I mean, do we just make those like extra? Yeah, those just extra prediction points or extra fantasy points? Like, do we want to tweak it a little bit this year? Like, what do you think? I don't know. Like, we could. I mean, I think it's just extra prediction points, technically, right? So
I think I think it was just like a bonus point.
Bonus point if your guy had your number
predictions.
One. Yeah, or something like that.
So it's kind of like the tiebreaker, so we didn't have to do a tiebreaker.
Yeah, we can definitely. I can pull up the wheel and we'll do the 1 through 30. Yeah, see what everybody spends. Yeah, we did that last time, so I'm down. Just remind me next week, so I remember to do it. Somebody in the chat, and I'll do that for all of us. I mean, I think there will be plenty to talk about next week. Yeah, we'll do our predictions, all the different the people that we're going to guess, the surprises and whatnot, the call ups, and then we can talk about Saturday night's main event because that'll be over with at the time. And so I mean, there will be a lot of build to Rumble, so there'll be a lot to talk about concerning the Rumble. So I think we'll still have a pretty full show next week. We don't need anything really extra, so yeah, because there'll be a lot to talk about.
Be a big show.
Yeah.
Sad that I have to miss it.
Oh man,
I've missed like the last 2 or 3 prediction episodes just because of other things going on.
Well, post show today before you leave, let's lay out our predictions, our fantasy, all that stuff. We'll lay out everything we're going to talk about. I'll write it down too. We'll make sure we hammer out everything we want to talk about as far as that goes.
Yeah, so it'll be a big Rumble themed episode again next week. But between now and then, JPO, where can the people find you?
Yeah, when I'm not here on Thursdays, find me over at the Pierce Co. Like Pierce Your Ear. Lots of movie shenanigans there. Continuing, we got 2 more tournament fights over the next not tournament fights, but matches in our tournament over the next couple of days. I maybe want tournament fights on the mind because I'll be there tomorrow night.
Yeah,
hell yeah! Finishing up the 2024 brackets at 9:30.
Just a quick half one wrapping up 2024.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna try to finish a couple blinders. Maybe I'll watch a beaver for Jacob. He liked that beaver thingy.
Yeah.
Did that make it?
I don't think I made it into the finals, unfortunately, into the Friday show.
Then fuck it, I'll get to it later.
I'll watch it anyways.
That's why I was like, is he gonna watch it because it's on tomorrow? Because that would be pretty awesome.
I think it made it out of the first round. I think it lost to some other heavy hitter, unfortunately. Like something.
I'm surprised it made it out of the first round, to be honest.
Yeah, it won something and then it lost to something big, I think. So yeah, unfortunately, it didn't quite make the Friday, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I'll just try to fill another blind. I've seen most. I've definitely seen. I felt bad. I felt like I was the Zach or Maria last couple episodes. No one. Where is Sugar Warning? Where is Half Baked 2? Where is?
Yeah.
You took Jack.
Where's that Jessica Alba Netflix movie?
I said Trigger Warning. See?
Trigger Warning.
Where is the mouse?
None of them. No, not talking about that. No, we're gonna talk Amelia Perez, and we're gonna talk
the Brutalist.
But anyway, Brutalist. Come on. But no, and then I just filmed Why We Love Horror. We talked. We did a scary movie trivia. Maybe I ruled. Maybe I didn't. Tune in to find out. And
the franchise scary movie.
The franchise, yeah. So 1 through 5, yeah, the whole of them, yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I was like, scary movie trivia.
That's what I was doing before I got here.
It's like scary movie trivia. That sounds, appropriate for.
That's just what Why We Love Horror is scary movie trivia.
I want to make sure that I wasn't.
This one specifically the franchise.
Sorry, yeah, no, the franchise.
No, I just want to make sure I was. Yeah.
Yes.
I figured, but yeah.
I meant to rewatch them all. I watched like the beginning of 3. Oops. That snuck up on me quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while since I've watched those.
The first 3 I'd be okay on. 4 and 5 is where it gets a little shady territory for me.
Yeah, well, that was even worse because 5 I think I've seen once.
Right.
4 maybe twice if I'm lucky, probably once.
Those first 3 I've seen a decent amount of times. I would do okay. Those first 3.
They were deepish cuts though. Maybe you might. I don't know. Yeah. These deep cut games, I just got to get out of. I usually say no. This is the one time I sign up because I was like, I think I do okay. Not to spoil how I did.
Pez, what do you got going on?
No, yeah, mostly stuff over on the Movie Hero Network. JP will talk about wrapping up our 2024 shenanigans because we've got a podcast as well on Sunday night, which JP will be a part of. Finally getting to our big top 12 roundtable. So finally, wrapping up the whole thing there with our top 12 list.
My 12 has changed since we last talked. Is that cool?
That's fine. Yeah, whatever.
All right.
No problem. There's one. There's one that I saw that's flirting with the top 12. I don't know if I'll put it in there last minute or not. I'll have to look at my list and see. It's flirting with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, if you whatever. Everything's up for grabs until we start the show. So
I didn't know because we had done our honorables and
no. I mean, the top 12. It's not official until we do the official podcast. So you whatever you want to. So at least on our channel, I know you've done yours already, but on our channel, it's still open. So I'll be on Ryan Permison's and I quote channel doing some more watch alongs. We did one for Tremors last week because of course, and for the anniversary. And tomorrow night I'll be doing for a few dollars more the 60th anniversary of that Western, which is my favorite Western. So that's why he's having me on for that one. So I may or may not own 2 different shirts with Lee Van Cleef on it. So I'll decide which ones I wear for the show. I swear I'm the only guy who's ever bought that off TeePublic, but I'm proud of that. And Wheel of Movies will also be back next week before Lonely Marks. Myself and Richie and Jonathan Caro will be our special guest, and we're going to be talking Mulholland Drive in honor of David Lynch. So, we had to do, unfortunately, another tribute episode because somebody else in Hollywood passed away. So, a little David Lynch. Give me a chance to bust out the 4K. I haven't gone back and rewatched it. I haven't seen that movie in like 20 years, so I don't remember a lot of it. It'll be just like a fresh watch. So, should be interesting. Maybe I'll understand it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. David Lynch is not one of my guys particularly, but I'm open to watching it.
Oh, should be an interesting conversation then.
Yeah.
So
that's why we're having Jonathan Caro, somebody who loves that movie and can maybe explain a few things as a backup. Yeah, we try to get somebody who's like big fan of it as well.
Yep. So catch these guys next week. Every Thursday here on the Lonely Marks Wrestling Podcast channel. I will be back 2 weeks so we can discuss the Rumble. I'm excited to see what happens.
Looks like we're gonna have set up to have a lot of newsworthy stuff coming out of it with all these storylines they're setting up. So there could be a lot of different little moments and interactions and just things to talk about. So even the undercard as well. So I'm sure it'll be a whole show just dedicated to talking about that and obviously whatever happens on Raw the night after to keep the road to WrestleMania going. So should be a lot to talk about. And then eventually in February we'll get to that rank up, JP. I swear we'll start it up in February.
It happens. I don't mind.
We'll get there. I know. Unfortunately, we got tied up in the Rumble stuff, and then people being kind of on and off. So once we have another 4 and a 5th, we'll kick off our women's rank up series. We'll get there.
I was puking a little too much last week to
you know what? We could do it the day before Valentine's Day in honor of the ladies. That sounds like poetic, actually. For women, the 13th is a Thursday, so the day before Valentine's Day would be a tribute to the ladies with a little Valentine's Day show on the little ranking the women. So that could work. Could be nice.
There's potential for that, yeah. So and then you can also catch me. I am in Lights Out Trivia. Shout out to Tato. For the little tournament that he's putting on, scheduled a lot of matches over the last 4 weeks. So shout out to you. And apparently Combat Wrestling Trivia. I might be in a match soon, so keep an eye out for that. And if anybody drops out of JPO's tournament, I will be the replacement. I'm
sure I'll be getting hit up to write JPO's opening round matchup very soon in the ASAP tournament. So I'll be on the lookout for that message. I should probably just start writing random.
Get it in. Yeah,
I'm just saying. While I'm at work and I get bored, I might just start writing questions and just hang on to it. So I'm sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Write a couple. If I don't make it farther, then you guess so. Still,
Sure, definitely.
So So follow these guys and everything that they're doing. The Movie Hero Network, Pierce Wrestling. And we'll be back next week to talk some more wrestling. So for Richie, who was here with us in spirit, he's not dead, but he was just not here. For JPO, for Pez, whatever, I can't point. For Pez, I am Jacob. We are the Lonely Marks. thank you for watching. If you're watching on the replay, also thank you, but at a later time. So we will see you guys next week.